This week on the Kokomo Press Podcast, we have a very unique guest for you. He's got 3 names. He is known as Rhett Cannon, he is known as Profecy, and he's known as Pesos54. And he came on to hang out with me and Hypocrisy Jones and talk a little bit about his involvement in the Raw Talent Battle League. We talked a lot about weird philosophical things, including like, are we in a simulation right now? How will we know? And we got into so many cultural discussions about so many different topics. You guys are seriously going to enjoy this. He even talked a little bit about how he went on the weekly plug and gave his bootleg plugs. Man, this is such a great episode. I hope you guys enjoy this very special episode of the Kokomo Press Podcast, baby. Woo!
Warning, this video contains adult content not suitable for children.
What's up? It's Kokomo Press Podcast. I'm Jordan Granger, and as always, I'm joined by one of the best co-hosts on the planet.
And sometimes my name's Hypocrisy, sometimes my name's Jordan, but I'm here. What's up?
He's here today. And we have a very special guest for you. He's a man that we've seen already on the weekly plug. If you've checked that out, which you should.
You really should.
Introduce yourself. His name is
Rhett Cannon, also known as Pesos54. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
I like that.
So you're like him. I don't know what name to use when it comes time to put the name out. I'm like, well, there's so many that we could use.
Yeah, exactly. And then like another thing with me, like literally I can tell like, well, other people will be, well, I know how long I've known people, but like you can tell how long someone's known me by what name they use.
Yeah.
Like people I've known since elementary school, they refuse to call me by a nickname. Like they're going to call me Rhett.
Yeah.
Like people like I met in like middle school or high school, like they'll call me Profecy or Prof. But like if I met you like post high school, like that's like when you hear like the Pesos thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm going to call you Rhett just because we're family.
Yeah,
And that's just
see.
how that works. But
so like there's certain people that just refuse to call me by a nickname.
Well, I know with the Profecy, I'm like Rhett Profecy, and then I've also saw the Pesos 54.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I never know. When I was editing the weekly plug, I was like, what do I put? Because I got to put your name on there. I'm like, which one do I put? So I had to like listen, like, what is he gonna introduce himself as?
Yo, and then like what's even funnier, like when I'm playing the game, like because I'll play with different people, and like my gamer tag is Pesos54.
Yeah.
But like there's people that I play with, like my battle rap friends, and like they'll call me Profecy.
Yeah.
And then like people like I went to school, they'll call me Rhett, and like then there will be like a fourth party that doesn't know me at all, and they're like, "Why did you just call this dude 3 different names? Like I don't even know what to call him." Like,
I love it.
Now, this is what I'm referring to. If you guys haven't watched it yet, it's still available. Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Watch it.
Special guest. I put Profecy on here. I didn't see what I mean. We use different ones. I was like, so I just put Profecy.
it's okay. I'm identifiable as both, like or all Trey.
You're like, I'm all of them. You've got, it depends on the day.
They're all inner personalities.
Yeah.
If anybody knows anything about that, I know about that. Like because just having multiple personalities is the thing, and it's okay, bro.
Yeah, you definitely, you're stacking those different Facebook names. At some point, we're not going to know what to do.
That's okay. That's kind of better that way.
Yeah. And I think like honestly, like with me, like they literally are like different faces of myself. Like there's certain people that only know Pesos, and that's like when I'm partying, like when I'm out drinking and stuff like that, like when I'm in certain situations, that's when you get Pesos. And then sometimes like I'm on like a philosophy type thing, or like I'm getting deep talking about certain things, that's when you get Profecy. And then like Rhett is like who I am, so I guess Rhett is both. But Rhett also is neither nor. Like,
Yeah, have you ever seen like the TikTok alters? Have you ever seen that?
I haven't.
So there's this weird thing on TikTok that I found out about where like people that have like they're like almost like fetishizing the idea of like having like schizophrenia a little bit.
Oh no, I've seen that
okay,
too.
so you have,
and like
okay.
people, like I didn't know exactly what it was, but now that you said that, like people like fetishize like fucking schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or like people, and like I don't want to say people oversaturated, but they kind of do because people really go through this like clinically, like, or you're clinically schizophrenic, you're clinically bipolar, like, or you deal with real anxiety and depression, and people think just because they're going through some shit, they're diagnosed with something, like, or you're having mood swings.
The weird thing is with the alters, they'll name their different personality. So it's like what I'm getting at is you guys have your own alters. You guys just don't create. You guys don't make it a mental illness. It's just part of your personality.
Yeah.
So like we all knew Slim Shady and we all knew Eminem, and then he had his different. And then you had like the different guys in like Wu-Tang would have like their alters and then their real. And so people with different nicknames. And then I think the weirdest thing is like Tyler the Creator. All of his albums have a different person. So like the most recent one was Tyler Baudelaire, and then before that he had Igor, and then before that he had Flower Boy, and he's like, and then he had like the Goblin, and he has all these different, or Wolfgang, like his wolf character. So
Golf
like Wolf
Wang.
Haley,
Golf Wang.
So like I feel like a lot of people are like adopting this as like, some days I feel more this, and some days I feel more. Some days you're Prophecy, some days you're Peso, some days you're just rap. Man, today I don't have time for either of those other guys. I'm rap today.
Exactly. And then also I think it's like it depends on my environment.
Yeah.
Like if I'm around like a bunch of hood people and stuff like that, like that's when like Pesos comes out. Like because I'm just adapting to the environment. Yeah. But like if I'm around a bunch of philosophers, a bunch of deep thinkers and things like that, that's when you see Prophecy. And, like, my homegirl, shout out Nikki Toogood, she always gets mad at me because she says I code switch way too much.
See, I was going to say, you sound like you've got the code switch down, which I think it's okay. I think it's okay.
I think that's acceptable, right? Like, first, I feel like Hypocrisy can get away with more than Jordan can. I can say more things. I can act a certain way as Hypocrisy.
It's like you give yourself the license.
Yeah, which I need it sometimes. Just it's for creative freedom and shit like that. I'm not trying to cross any lines or boundaries or any. Well, I am kind of trying to cross boundaries.
Your own,
but that's different. Yeah. Not other people's, but I don't like the idea of somebody fetishizing schizophrenia.
Well, I know here to stay. There's nothing we can do about that.
I know me and all my personalities are crazy.
Yeah.
But like, man, we fetishize so much shit just because everybody wants to be so fucking special all the goddamn time.
Did you guys hear like? And this goes back to TikTok because TikTok just seems to be the breeding ground for mental illness a lot of times. No offense. That's
kind of evil.
But it seems like it's the breeding ground of mental illness. But like the kids that had like what is it? That was not Deuce Bigelow had it where they're like fuck. Shit.
Tourette's.
Tourette's.
Shit, yeah.
Kids were watching videos of people with Tourette's, and then they were doing it themselves, and they were developing like a mental Tourette's that didn't exist. They were giving themselves Tourette's by watching people with Tourette's.
Exactly. And then like I think it's like 17 times, or if you do something for 17 days, it develops a habit.
Yep.
So, like, since you were literally doing it, your body developed a habit of it. Like you said, you gave yourself Tourette's.
Yeah.
Damn.
They said the same thing with schizophrenia. If you're around people with schizophrenia too long, you can actually rewire your brain to develop schizophrenia, and that's horrible. You don't want schizophrenia. It's not a good thing, kids.
It's not a good thing unless you hit 10,000 hours and you master it, right?
Right.
That's the goal, right?
Could you imagine being like, I have my master's in sociology, psychology, and schizophrenia?
Yeah. I mean, to an extent, it could be a good thing, like mastering it, because then when you come across other people that deal with it, like you know how to deal with them because you can identify with it. And that's one thing that I have found with TikTok, like different people like dealing with like mental illnesses and stuff like that, like different things that I dealt with, like seeing other people deal with it and like getting like a whole breakdown, especially like from people that are actually like psychologists and doctors and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, this is what's going on. Now I understand the chemical imbalance, and now it doesn't freak me out.
Yeah.
So like now it's way more manageable, like without medicine.
I mean, that makes sense. I think it's good to have one of the good things about social media is you can develop a sense of community with people that don't even live next door. So like if you have like a rare like disorder, like a lot of people with rare disorders, they go on TikTok, they're like, oh, okay, so I'm not the only one. I'm not the here I'm the weirdo in my head. I'm the weirdo where I live, but there's other people like me out there that are thriving, and I can do that too. So there's that good aspect of it, but there's also where you can take community and turn it into like almost like a
cult. It's a self-indulgence thing.
Yeah, self-indulgence. Yeah.
But like you said, there's an idea of building a community. That's what we're trying to do here with all the things that we do. We're trying to build a community, but not necessarily based off of our own narcissism, right?
Yeah.
We're trying to build a community of artists to showcase and highlight other artists and things like that. I think that's the problem, though, is that like people in this age, they're like, oh, well, this is open platform for me to spew all my shit about my life because I think I'm horrible, but all I really want to do is talk about myself and then get positive praise from it.
Yeah.
Right.
Validation.
And that's not a community.
I think you posted something to the. Did you post something that was to that fact about validation? Somebody, who was it? Somebody, maybe it wasn't you, but somebody posted. Maybe it was Matt Perez. Did he post that? He was like, yeah, it was Matt Perez. He was a guest on the podcast. He posted something about, it's okay to seek validation, but that can't be your entire personality. Like your whole personality can't be hoping other people validate your life. You have to, at some point, you have to learn how to live in your own skin and validate yourself.
Exactly.
Well, it's okay for things to happen, and it's okay to want to other people to be like, hey, it's okay that happened, but you can't keep on letting the same things happen without learning from it, because
maturing.
People get tired of that, right? Like, how much of that can you stand when somebody just makes the same mistakes over and over, and then they're like, but did I do good? No, you didn't do good because you made the same mistakes.
You did horrible.
Yeah. But like another thing about seeking validation, like literally, like there's like a scientific study, like people that like get likes and stuff like that and like positive comments, like it literally like secretes dopamine to your brain.
Yep.
Like, so it's literally a drug.
It's an addiction. So that your dopamine center is like your addiction center. Like that's what it is. So you can become addicted to likes, and that's what they say is a huge problem with social media. Like in a general way, is that like people go there just to get that hit. So like if you see like a group, anytime you're in a group of people, you'll see people. They'll be talking in a group, and then all of a sudden there's a lull, and instead of like restarting, like you refreshing the convo to something new, people would be like.
And
to their phone real quick. Yeah,
and like honestly, like I had to find myself, like I had so much screen time that I was like, wait, I have to unplug from the Matrix. Because like I found myself like falling asleep, like unintentionally scrolling with my thumb and like my fingers, and there's no phone in my hand. Like, and like I could see it like in my dreams, like a news feed that was like hypothetical. Like it wasn't like I was remembering what I seen. Like it was literally hypothetical statuses and stuff like
your
that.
Your psyche
like,
is creating your own like timeline.
Yeah, like it was ridiculous. I'm like, oh, it's time to unplug.
For a second, I thought you were going to go to like where you're like on your phone and you're half asleep and then you don't realize it, and the next thing you know, you hit yourself in the fucking face with your phone.
Oh, yeah, no, that happens too. But like, no, like literally, my phone is like across the room on the charger, and I'm just laying in bed, like.
Yeah. That's honestly something that happens a lot. And you're talking a little bit about like creators and like and everything. So we are here with Rhett Cannon, aka Pesos54. Check him out. I do want to post this on here, kind of get you. This is the Facebook, and then we got the Twitch. Go follow him. I just went and followed him myself. But I did bring this up from your actual page, and you said you feel like all the content creators in the 765 need to have a conference. And I wanted to get your take on that. What kind of brought you to that to that end?
Honestly, it's just because like. Me personally, I connect with a lot of different content creators, and like how we're doing a podcast right now, like, and then like we have the group chat, like with all the different people with podcasts and stuff like that. And I thought that was a great idea for just the podcast. But then it's like we have the gamers too that use Twitch, and it's like not even on, I'm on Xbox personally, but like we have other people that's on PlayStation, we have people that's on PC, and like I connected with a lot of them. And then also I noticed a lot of different people on TikTok, people that using Facebook Reels, and I'm like, if we would all come together on a conference, we could all plug each other. Like I don't like that phrase.
It's almost like we could almost do that weekly, you know.
But we could all help each other promote. Man, we don't have to plug each other.
Plug each other up.
Just embrace the plug, man.
You know,
just embrace
the plug.
Yeah.
I never even considered that when we were shopping. I was like, I didn't think about that. But you guys should make weekly plugs.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, let's see if we can get some Owen.
You know, somebody would buy it.
Yo, Courtney, can you help us out with that? I know you're probably the expert, so.
Well, you know, I was perusing on Facebook. You know, it's Pride Month. Everybody, you know, celebrating LGBTQ plus people. It's Pride Month.
It is?
Yeah, June is Pride Month.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Well, I saw a lot of rainbow stuff everywhere. But
you're gonna see a lot more.
I didn't realize that it was just because it's Pride Month.
Yeah, that's the only reason we put it up.
We can only celebrate gay people during the month of June.
Yeah, that's it. After that, you gotta move on.
Look,
Man, that sounds like Black History Month.
but it's longer.
But 2 more days.
Yeah.
They get 2 more days. Well, I wanted to bring that up because we're talking about butt plugs here, and this is actually a billboard in San Francisco called. So they have a billboard where they're like, build a bussy, be vibe. So they're like, buy our product and build a bussy. So they're like, hey, if you're trying to get your butthole ready, this is the way to do it.
Vibrating butt plug.
I think it's an inflating butt plug. That's how you build it up. But maybe it's just
like
be vibe.
It
vibrates too.
To make your butt like a pussy.
Yeah, bussy, man. You know about bussies?
No, I don't.
You don't know about bussies?
This is news to me.
I just
okay. Wow.
I don't. My bussy is sacred.
It's inflatable.
Yeah, you gotta.
This is
like, you know, when you go to get your blood pressure checked, it's like they just do the same thing but with your butthole. Expand it.
My bussy's hymen is still intact, so like I feel like that's a good thing, right? Until I have to go
each
get
his
that.
own, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Proctologist gonna make sure he gets in there.
Oh man, I'm really worried about picking the right one. It's
to each his own. But like I'm scared of turning 45 and having to have a colonoscopy.
I know. Well, I will say my hymen is not intact because I had to have a colonoscopy at like 25. They found like I was getting like really like having issues all the time, like real fatigue. So they were checking me and they did like a MRI or a CT scan or something like that. I think it was MRI, and they found like this bright spot on my aorta, because your aorta, we always think your heart aorta, but it's actually like this vein that goes all the way down, and they saw it like right around my stomach area.
Oh shit!
And so they thought maybe I might have like a cancer on my fucking aorta, and so they checked me out, and it ended up being nothing. It was just like a little tiny sliver.
So they fingered your butt for no reason.
So they were all up in my butt.
See, this is why hood people don't go to the doctor.
You're like, hey, you got me thinking, because they're like, hey, there's something wrong with your heart. Let's go up your ass.
Yeah, no, bro. Like, bro, I got drunk, fell off a porch, like chipped like 3 teeth and broke my jaw, and I didn't realize I wasn't gonna go to the fucking ER.
You're just like hanging out like that. Hey, Adrian, I ain't hear no bell.
I don't blame you, because you go to the ER for that, and then they're gonna want to stick things up your butt.
I don't know what you're gonna do.
Next thing you know, you got a bussy, and you didn't even. I didn't sign up for a bussy.
I'm like, shit. Give me some ibuprofen. I'll be alright.
So my only
take some Robitussin.
Rub some dirt on it. You'll be alright.
My only question about bussies is like, do you have to do Kegels for like to keep your bussy like tight?
Well, it is.
How does that
like
work?
Your sphincter is a muscle.
Yeah.
Right? So I mean, I guess. I mean, that would make sense. The weird thing is,
I know we didn't book this month right. Like with it being Pride Month, we should have had somebody on that.
We did last week, but it wasn't a bussy. It was that
wasn't for Pride Month though.
Yeah, gay woman. We had a gay woman on.
Well, I know, but it was in May.
Technically, but it was the same week. It came out. The episode came out the same week. I don't think you're
allowed to just say gay. Like, I think you have to talk about the
we can say
spectrum.
No, gay. She's a gay woman, but like, she's a lesbian. But and Courtney was bi.
See, you said woman. Like, are you allowed to call her a woman? Like, no, you know the pronoun thing now.
She's a woman. She admits she's a woman.
Yeah,
her decision.
Genuinely, ultimately depends on what you want to identify as, or what you identify as. So.
Yeah,
but like that's the thing with me. Like, I understand like people like identifying as different things, but it's just like, don't like crucify me if I accidentally say the wrong thing.
I think that's an internet thing more than anything. I think that's just people on the internet. Because I did see a video. I don't have it. I can't cue it up. But I did see a video of a woman who, I say woman, maybe I shouldn't. But
her pronoun. Now you're second guessing
this person's pronouns. Well, I don't even remember what the person's pronouns was. But like, this person went into like a place like the DMV or something, and the guy was like, "How you doing today, young lady?" Like, it was in a sweet way. And when the person left the DMV, she posted if it's not on TikTok, it didn't happen, and posted an entire TikTok where like this person was like upset that she. See,
you did it again.
The truth is, like, she said that she uses she and they them, but she felt dysphoric because this person had called her a lady, and that day she wasn't feeling she was feeling they. And I'm like, listen, when you get to that point where like I feel like you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Like you're not like you're not helping the case, because the people that are trying that know are like, man,
that legitimately feel
hoops.
a certain way. Like there's other people messing it up for them. Like
I know that in instances that I've seen or had or been a part of, like if you mess up, you correct yourself, or if somebody corrects you and you apologize genuinely.
It feels like such a power issue, though. That's my biggest beef with all of it. Is it feels like it, and I don't mean it. And like obviously, like if I know somebody who has a certain pronoun, like I kind of train my brain where I'm like, this is what you use. But when they switch, I feel like that's such a weird power issue. Like I it's not that I don't believe that somebody can be non-binary or queer or whatever you want to call it, or gender fluid or any like that. It's not that I don't believe that. It's just it gets really tiring and taxing to be like, actually today and it's like, come on, man, like come on, girl,
it's different whether you stand on one particular thing. Like if you stand on one particular thing, like that's cool. Like you said that and you told me that, you let me know that, I'll respect that. But like switching back and forth, like
it gets confusing.
Now it's not my fault anymore. Like
as people that change our names constantly, we just don't get it.
Yeah. But if somebody calls you Jordan, if you're going by hypocrisy,
no. He just made a great point. He honestly just made a great point.
I don't like that point.
Like,
I would like
no.
I would like to push back.
But at the same time, I'm not offended if you call me any of those names.
That's my pushback.
I get you.
Yeah.
As long as you don't get offended.
That was a good point.
Yeah.
Like that's literally doing the exact same thing. Like
if
I feel like Pesos this day and I want to be called Pesos, like call me Pesos.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Profecy this day, like because of the content that's coming out of my the personality that I'm acting of this day, like that's what I want to be addressed as right now.
Yeah.
Like, cause I will get in my Pesos mode and like somebody said, and I'm like, don't fucking call me Rhett. Like, so I like now that you say it like that, like, don't call me my fucking government name. Like,
I'm the only one here with one name, so I'm good either way.
Yeah.
Oh, you're cool, Danger.
Yeah, Danger.
But no,
and if you called me that, it wouldn't affect me.
I literally never thought about it like that until you just like made that point.
Yeah.
Like.
That's why we have these conversations, It's like we're
valid.
enlightening. So you just switched from Pesos to Profecy because he just blew your mind philosophically.
No, literally. That's literally what happened. Because Pesos was the one like, man, fuck that shit. Like
that shit. Pesos was taking over, and then Pesos got knocked back.
And then Profecy's like,
hold on, wait.
That's a valid.
Yeah, it makes sense, honestly. It's just, to me, it's like, as long as you don't get upset, if you're going to go in and out of pronouns, as long as you don't get mad when somebody uses the wrong pronoun and you like correct them in a polite way, because there are some people that are like, actually.
You know what? I feel, but no.
Sometimes, sometimes you're in that mood.
More and more I'm thinking about this, like, because I said, I've been in my Pesos mode where I got upset because somebody called me my government name. And that's my whole government name. And I'm 30 years old. And I got upset with somebody for calling me by my government name. Because that's the way I felt. And I felt the right to express myself. It's also your right to say, fuck me, though.
I had to correct somebody a couple weeks ago because they called me Marvelous Mr. Bell, and I was like, I really don't go by that anymore.
Yeah,
and that's like a hard thing. I'm like, no, I don't go by that. But like, I wasn't upset that they called me that.
Yeah.
But.
Well, I know when you had Steve on. Okay, so I'm going to bring that up real quick because I do have the actual.
Yeah. Did a huge
Friday Night Hype with Congo Kong,
yes.
aka Steve Wilson.
Yes,
Steve Wilson is his government name. That's what we'll call him, government name. But he also went by multiple different characters throughout the years, right?
Yeah, he's had a lot of different character changes, and one reason why we framed this interview the way we did is because the character of Congo Kong is a nonverbal character.
Yeah, so like you couldn't do an interview.
Yeah, you can't talk to him because it's just going to be a bunch of grunts and like me being scared. That. So when he does his interviews, when he does his interviews, he does do them out of character. He does them as himself.
Yeah, perfectly.
Yeah. Loved it. But
I love that. I love the episode. So if you guys haven't checked it out, I do want to throw it back one more time. hosted by Hypocrisy Jones. It's on In Your House podcast. Friday Night Hype. He do it like every week, every Friday, obviously.
Yep, every Friday around 7 o'clock, we go live. This interview is on it's on the Twitch. It's Team IYH on Twitch.
Hell yeah.
But also In Your House on YouTube. So go check it out.
And Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts.
Yeah. Check it out. Apple, Spotify, all the places. Like,
Yep.
Honestly, I'm not the biggest. I was a wrestling guy when I was younger, but I'm not really up to date on stuff. And I don't, to be honest, I never even heard of Congo Kong until this interview, but I really thoroughly enjoyed it because he got into some really good information. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil anything because I want you to go check it out, but go check out the Friday Night Hype with your host, Hypocrisy Jones, and special guest Steve Wilson, aka Congo Kong.
Yeah.
Good time. But yeah, he's had multiple different characters. So
yeah, he goes by Osiris sometimes. He goes by
of.
Congo Kong. I think he goes by something else too.
Yeah.
He was telling me about in his early career, he was going to go by Shamar.
Yeah.
Or Shamari, something like that. And
it was like a combination of another guy who he took inspiration of.
I think all of those are just evolutions of your character or even oneself. Now, there is separation of those things sometimes. In all entertainment fields, I think sometimes people blur those lines too close where they don't know how to actually separate it. But
just say Mick Foley, dude. Just say he.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Actually, he's one of the more grounded guys that like I think when he's not wrestling, he's not wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's just normal dude, dad.
But
like
he actually
Santa
had the
Claus.
multiple altars that were all
Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, Mankind, Dude Love.
Yeah, we all knew that, and you might even have your favorite, and it might be different than your friend's favorite, whichever one you liked out of the three.
Absolutely.
One of them was way more like in perspective and like sensitive, Mankind, and then Dude Love was like the cool guy, like, the cool guy, and then you've got Cactus Jack, who's just like an insane dude that.
I'm gonna rip your face off.
Yeah, like
with thumbtacks.
I'm gonna kill him. I always enjoyed though that he would switch in and out, and like I remember the one Royal Rumble when he came out as all three.
Yeah.
That was you can't forget that.
Yeah. You know what wrestler like I wish would have like made like an alter ego like that?
Who?
Jeff Hardy.
He did. He did actually.
He wore face paint for him.
Yeah, he did, but it was still Jeff Hardy.
No, when he went to Enigma.
Yeah.
Oh, it did happen.
Yeah.
So, your wishes come true.
So, you got to look up some Jeff Hardy and TNA. Don't look up Victory Road because it's.
Yeah.
I mean, do look it up, but it was him versus Sting, and he was fucked up.
Yeah, I remember.
Bro, I'm definitely looking up because Sting is another one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. Like, I still remember when he threw fucking Vampiro off of the Titantron.
Yeah. I know, obviously we don't really talk too much about Terry, but Terry, when he had Hulk Hogan and then he moved into Hollywood Hulk Hogan, that was a completely different character. Yeah. Double H. Yeah. I was watching, I think you did the In Your House podcast people, the page, which you can follow that as well, but did they post the thing about Jeff Hardy recently? Because I think I saw the thing where he wrestled Sting, and I think you guys had posted something about that.
No, I think they want to. They want to do a Jeff Hardy Sting thing before Sting retires.
Maybe
is
that's
the thing. So
yeah,
how old is Sting now?
60 some odd.
Sheesh.
Yeah, he's up there.
He's always been able to hide his age because he has that face paint.
Yeah, but I knew he was like an adult when I was a child.
You'd be surprised, man. He still gets around pretty good and can he's not wrestling, but he has wrestled.
That was
still.
That's the power of Jesus on your side. Because I know.
I don't know, man. People that have the power of Jesus.
He was at the Acquire the Fire. Like I had a girl I was dating, and she got me to go to that Acquire the Fire, which is like a super it's like basically like a huge arena event of like Christians for like a couple days. And one of the things that happened was Sting came out and wrestled like for Jesus on there and like wrestled the devil. It was like
did he beat up the devil?
No, he actually lost. I'm just kidding. He definitely won. I was like, could you imagine if they set this whole thing up and then Sting lost to the devil?
This is blasphemy.
And they're like, actually, the devil wins. You guys are all here. This is actually an atheist convention.
It'd be a true life story, but.
I always thought it was weird. It was called Acquire the Fire, and I'm like, aren't we trying to get away from the fire?
Right? Isn't the fire bad?
The fire.
The fire of Jesus.
You're gonna burn forever. We got to acquire the fire, and I'm like, if I acquire the fire, it's the opposite. But I think they meant like the fire for Christ.
Yeah, but hell is still hot.
I mean, pastors are like very similar to like wrestlers in the way they go. Like they kind of go in their pulpit and their ring, and then they're like kind of doing their show and they're getting into it. And it's like, today we're gonna fight for Jesus, and then everybody's like, hell yeah! The crowd goes
no. Like
crazy.
honestly, like that reminds me. Like I was like with my homegirl, like, and we went to church. Like, and this was on Sunday. Saturday night was a battle rap event. And like I make the status like there's a very thin line between preaching and battle rap.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Because it's like they get right into
that.
it, and then like the guest preacher. I mean, like, or not the guest preacher, but like the preacher under the preacher, like
deacons.
He's like grabbing his shoulder, like like. I'm like, oh, that's he gets all this crowd reaction. I'm like, that's a bar. Like,
speaking of bars,
Yeah, let's talk about We're All Talent Battle League, which you're very heavily involved in, and this is the logo, and then we actually check them out on Facebook. Tell us a little bit about what you do with the Battle Rap League.
Basically, I'm not involved in actually like the league, like politics and stuff like that. I'm just a battler.
Yeah.
But like, Cash Hicks is the founder. And he's done like great things with this league. Like honestly, like Indiana Battle Rap, it started with what they call Bloodsport Battle League, and then they used to have Ball Hawk Battle League, and mostly everything was based out of Fort Wayne. But like when Cash came in, he started booking events in Kokomo and Marion. He kind of brought like the home base of Indiana Battle Rap to the 765.
Hell yeah. That's cool. I mean, Marion's is 765 as well.
Yeah.
I usually just drive through Marion. I don't really spend a lot of time there.
Yeah,
You guys spend a lot of time
Kokomo.
I had family there, so
Yeah, I got family there
a lot.
too.
Yeah.
Kokomo, Marion, Anderson, Muncie.
Yeah, Anderson and Muncie. Yeah, that makes sense. That's all those areas.
They're all 765 area.
I get so confused because of the way everybody, like, we all, like, they segregate the areas between, like, 765, and then you'll have, like, Howard County. It's part of 765, but it's not all of 765.
Right,
And, like,
exactly.
And the 317's right there. Because, like, there are certain parts, like, Marion's as far away from Kokomo as Indy is from Kokomo, pretty much, like, an hour. But, like, that's 317. That's 765.
Oh, Lafayette is 765 too.
Yeah, that makes sense. Then we have another one. Do we have, like, 217? 219?
No, that's a precursor to number, not an area code. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait. No, he might be on because I'm not sure what Gary is.
I think we had three. We have three different.
Is there
in
a
Indiana.
207 or something like
Gary might be 219.
Yeah, 219 or something.
Maybe,
Like that.
yeah.
There's like I know. So when there's a 574 too. What's that?
574 is like
it's
Logan
like
Sport.
Walton, Logan. Yeah.
Logan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's out there. We've got a bunch of different area codes in Indiana, which you think as small as we are, we would only need like one.
It is weird. I miss when we were all just 317.
I miss the days
You
when we were all.
remember that?
I don't remember that.
There was a time where we were all just 317, bro. It was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Must
you're
been
only a
that
couple
1 year.
years older than me. Like,
I know.
So it's literally
He's only
like
1 year
that
older than
small
me,
of
and
a
I don't
time.
remember that at all. So, but I believe you.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
I don't believe him. I do
It was
believe
a thing. Look it up. Shut up.
We were all 317. I swear. We all were. We
were.
We were.
But like, I just remember my house. As long as I've known my house phone number, like from growing up, it was a 765. So like, as long as I knew it, I know I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
So I'm like, at least 25 years ago, it was a 765. But
Yeah.
prior to that, I don't know.
Yeah, you might. Maybe you guys had the number. You guys had saved the number from before they switched over to 765. So
Oh, that makes sense.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Could have. I just thought we were all 317 at one point, and then they just added new areas.
No,
Why
it
we all
was
just
at one point. But like, what you remember, it might have already switched over.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember, but I want to bring this up too before I forget. But tomorrow, actually, is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow,
The 5th, June 5th. So the day this comes out, the Jab is actually supposed to premiere on his Facebook page, on Derek Flagger's Facebook page. So check that out. And I don't know if you guys saw, but on the bottom here, there's my name, so I get to be in this one. So Jordan and Brian and them got to be in the other one, and there's mine. Woo! So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
And then we're actually going to talk about it next week on the podcast. So
New Water.
That's
that's
what's
gonna
up,
be a good
yeah.
time. But yeah,
New Nation.
New Water, ENT, and film. Now they have the and film and the We Are Media. I'm excited to see how this all shakes out because I haven't seen the episode. I won't see it until everybody else.
This is a series, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it started as a movie, and then they had decided to adapt it into a TV show because of how they wanted the arcs to move. So
okay.
I think this one is like Derek is the one directing it, and then the cinematography is Brian Foster.
Okay.
So that's exciting. I'm just excited to be a part of one of their projects. I've just been in the background holding a gun this whole time. That's all I've done.
I'm excited to see this one because I know they've been working on it for a really long time. So really excited.
I think if I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure I'm in the first episode. Because I play a doctor and it's called The Jab, and it's about him getting the jab. So I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, right.
Well, look out for it.
Look out for it. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited.
And look out for all the stuff that New Order and We Are Media are doing.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Brian
they've been doing
Foster's
a lot.
killer.
Black holler at me, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I know that's how it is. Like we're all like, "Hey, hit us up. We'll be a part of this." And then it took me like they started doing. I think they were filming in like 2019, 2020 when they were filming the first the Canary currency, obviously.
Yeah.
And then they moved into doing the Sean and Smoke, and they did the movie they just put out with Courtney that was in it.
Donovan Pike.
Donovan Pike, so they're just putting out project after project after project. I'm like, how do you have time for music at this point?
Right. Yeah, because like honestly, like I was one of the first artists that started working with Kane Marco and New Order, like, and this is like 2011.
Oh shit.
Like it's just kind of I just got away from it, but I'm willing to come back.
Hit him up.
Hit him up. Hit us all up. We'll all show up and do stuff.
But so you have some interesting things coming up, especially working with like kind of Kokomo Press and Weekly Plug stuff, right? Because we touched on earlier, you featured on the Weekly Plug. You came on as a guest, which really appreciate that. You also did some special spots with our bootleg reviews, which
definitely. And I actually need to do another one of those.
I need you to do some more of
But
those.
like I think what I want to do like next time, like not necessarily a movie, like because I don't say I watch movies a lot.
Okay.
But like I'll binge watch series.
I like that.
Like so I can definitely do that.
Oh, that reminds me. When I was going through going through your page, I was like, let me get some promo stuff for the podcast. Obviously, I saw you said you had posted something about Silo. How you feeling about Silo?
Yo, you know what?
I'm
You took
watching
the
it.
words out of my mouth.
You're
like,
getting ready to say
I
it?
was
Okay.
literally about,
I was
when I was
wondering.
talking about series. Yo,
You should binge watch that, finish that one, and then do a whole review on.
Yeah,
That would be
the
fun.
thing is, it's not done.
It's not. Yeah. They're only like episode 4 or 5.
No, well, yeah, I think it's episode 5. Yeah, I think it's episode 5.
I watched like half of the 5th episode last night.
Yeah, bro, it's dope.
It's crazy,
like,
right?
it actually is, like, even though it's like fictional, it makes perfect sense that they would do something like that. And also, I think it's possible like that's happening right now.
Oh, shit.
Like that, there's like 10,000 people in a silo somewhere,
So
and
it's all real except for they use actors. That's the only problem.
Yeah,
is we know
like
it's not real.
we're just living in an outside world, but it's possible.
They've got the cast is the actual cast is pretty decent. They have I don't know the girl who's playing the main character's actual real life
I
name.
do not know her.
But
real
Common's
name
in it,
either.
and they got Tim Robbins from Shawshank in it is in it too. And who else? Oh, they had Rashida Jones was in the first episode. She was the first person to go clean. You know what I mean? That was
Right.
And then her husband, I don't remember his name, but he's been in a lot of stuff recently.
Yeah, I don't know his name either.
I'm terrible at the actors'
I'm
names.
horrible at
It's
actors' names.
Apple TV, I think. Right?
Yeah, it's on Apple TV.
Yeah.
I got to check this series. I haven't heard
Check
about
it
this
out.
one. Okay.
You're gonna
Oh,
like
bro, it's basically like, okay, so there's 10,000 people, and they're in what they call a silo, which is basically like an isolated. I don't even know what to call it besides a silo. Like
It's an underground city, basically.
yeah, it's an underground city with like 100 and something floors, and they have like a water supply, and then like they like grow their own food. Like I have no idea like.
So it's
where
like
they
a
get meats and stuff from.
post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, but they don't.
basically.
So like the big premise of it that is that they're all in this silo. You when you walk into it, they're all in the silo. That's the beginning, and then you find out that they don't even know why they're there. They've lost all record from before they were in the silo.
Yeah, they deleted
All they've been told
records.
is that everybody who goes like they have this thing where like if you ask to go out, like one of their biggest laws is if you ask to go outside, you don't get to go back. It's the fine. You say it, you're done. You're out.
Yeah, you're out.
And then they try to get people to go outside and clean this camera that they have that like you can see the outside world, and so they're slowly losing the visual of the outside. So then these people go out and clean, and all you see is they go outside, and the next thing you know, they all like fall over. And they die.
and they like go out like in a space suit, like
Yeah, and then they
because
die.
like what they're told is the air and like everything is poisonous, like in the outside world. So if you try to go into the outside world outside of the silo, like you'll immediately die.
Yeah.
And so anybody that goes, they like show them on the camera and everybody's watching. And so, which I believe it's a simulation.
Yeah.
Like, but they don't know that because they don't know any better.
Right.
Did you watch the end of the 5th episode? I just realized I did get to the end of the 5th episode.
The end of the 5th episode,
where the dude's in the room with all the monitors. That's the end.
Oh yeah. Where the people that they're outside of the silo.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, we're not trying to ruin too much. And we're not giving too much away. It seems like we are.
Yeah,
but
we're
not.
really not. If you watch
I'm still gonna watch. I haven't seen this shit.
Yeah, this is not giving too much.
The acting's crazy and it's really good, and it's they build this entire it's a 10,000 person world basically underground, and it's like all these different. So everybody has their own. It's like a different class system, and they vote for a leader, and then they're basically when you show up on there, it's like everything's starting to like deteriorate and fall apart.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting show. I think you guys should check it out. And a
definitely.
bootleg review, if you guys want to continue to call it that, of the entire series at the end would be awesome.
Yeah, definitely,
like it.
because if you have a jailbroken Fire Stick, you can also access this without a subscription to Apple TV.
Yeah, we know a guy, right? And that's why we call it bootleg review.
Right, because I do not have a subscription to Apple TV.
I do. I'm just kidding.
I actually do too.
I'm a cuck. I'm the Apple cuck here with my iPhone and my iPad over here. You know? They already own me. It's like included into my like terabyte of memory or whatever I have.
But like literally with
I-
all the stuff I watch, I would have to have like a ridiculous amount of subscriptions.
I already do.
True.
Max, Hulu, Prime, Disney Plus, and I have Apple and Netflix. That's 6. What the fuck am I doing?
I have
And YouTube TV.
someone else's Netflix, my own Hulu, my own Prime, Apple, and I think we have Discovery or whatever,
Discovery
or
Plus.
Paramount or whatever it's called.
I actually have
Those are
Paramount, too.
totally different things.
I have Paramount as well.
But you probably have Paramount.
I think I have Paramount.
Discovery just merged and became. I actually think I have that on here, but Discovery merged with
Is
HBO
Max
Max,
now.
and now they just have Max. And everybody all week has been trying to get Peacock to merge with something, so they just become Cock. Everybody's like, you could just become Cock.
Bro, we've been calling it the cock for a long time.
They know
the
what it
wrestling
is.
world.
I know. Right? You guys had the wrestling with the cock thing, which is so funny.
Right. I literally only use Peacock to watch Bel Air.
Wrestling. It's
Yeah.
all wrestling.
Wrestling for you.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. Oh, that's where I watched WrestleMania on.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cock.
The cock.
The cock.
WrestleMania comes on wrestling on the cock. Wrestling with the cock. That's such a funny name. Is that Brian's idea? That name,
Yeah.
That name is
Wrestling
so
with the
lit.
cock,
That
yeah.
name is so good. I hate him so much. He always comes up with the best jokes, man. And I'm like, I can't stand this fucking guy.
I wish that page would have hit more.
I know. Like it's fun, but it's hard to write satirical wrestling stuff.
Yeah,
Especially from the start. You almost need something that's gonna like
Yeah.
break through from the beginning.
We had a few good
Just spear
stories
through
that
it.
hit really quick.
Yeah,
but
You guys did hit hard a couple times, man. I did want to bring up there was this is the anniversary of the Killdozer. Do you guys know the story about the Killdozer?
Oh yeah, I remember this dude. He
This
made
is
this.
yeah.
made
So
the
you're
show.
watching this on the 5th, but the 4th is the anniversary of the Killdozer. So on this day in 2004, a reasonable man was pushed too far by the officialdom of his Colorado town. So he did what any reasonable man would do under such circumstances. He built an armored shell for a bulldozer, sealed himself inside of it, and went to war. Happy Killdozer Day. So this guy. So the story is this guy. He was trying to get permits to build. They wouldn't give him permits. Then they made rules that he had to have in order to like make this bypass so that like, people can get to his business. He had to have permits to like build it, and they told him he couldn't.
Yeah.
So he couldn't even get. So they built this bypass, and people couldn't even get to his business anymore. They basically cut him off from like everything, and then they wouldn't let him build on top of his. So eventually, he just got to the point where he said, "Fuck it," and he created this bulldozer / armored vehicle, and just like put metal on top of it, and decided to destroy his entire town. And he decided, and in so doing it, so he just starts driving through government buildings, driving through the post office, driving through shit, and then when they finally got it, it got to a point where he couldn't move it anymore.
Yeah.
And then they finally broke into it, got in there, and he killed
And he
himself.
killed him.
So
Yeah, I remember
he
this.
always planned on taking himself out at the end in the first place, which is what makes him more of a legend than anything. He's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm done. So they call it the Killdozer.
I mean, he used all that fucking time and resource to build a Killdozer.
Yeah.
He could.
He didn't kill anybody. which was they call it the Killdozer, but nobody died. He just destroyed property, which is way hilarious.
Oh, that's
but
even
government
better.
property, exactly.
Yeah.
Like it was a government property.
It's kind of honorable that he didn't actually hurt anybody.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
Well, and
I feel better about it now that I know no one died.
he was
So-
being he was what is it? He was being don't tread on me. He was being
Yeah.
treaded on hardcore.
Yeah.
He was like, fuck it, I'm out. I'm gonna destroy
he's
everything.
gonna tread on you, literally.
Are you gonna tread on me? I'm gonna tread on your fucking building. I'm taking it out. Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
I think that was a problem that could have been resolved a lot easier. Like,
Yeah.
they could have just paid him for his property.
Right.
Well, that's what they were infringing on his rights hardcore because they were like they wouldn't even give him a chance to do shit. It was like a small government. It was like the small town government basically freezing a man out of his livelihood.
If
so
I
he
remember
said, "All
right,
right,
it was
well."
somewhere in Texas too. So
No,
like,
Colorado. It
Oh,
was
it was-
on
oh,
Colorado.
Colorado. Yeah,
Texas.
my
would be
bad.
hilarious. Texas. Texas. They wouldn't have been on a fringe on him. They'd have come after him.
Yeah.
Did you guys read?
He would have had a lot more guns.
This actually came out of Texas. Texas Crown Act was officially signed into law on Saturday by Greg Abbott. The act will end discrimination based on hair texture and protect hairstyles linked to race. So I thought this was pretty cool that that it was signed into law. And it's Texas is a very Republican state. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
But I love that they're kind of erring on the side of freedom 100% there. They're like, man, there's no reason not to hire somebody just because.
I mean, it's about time.
That's
Yeah, that's what I feel like. Honestly, like it seems like a good thing, but at the same time, when I see stuff like that, I'm like, why is it 2023 and that's just now a thing? Like,
Yeah.
No, that's a real thing because it's like it
why
shouldn't
is
have took this long.
Yeah.
One, there shouldn't have been laws that helped to inhibit somebody from getting a job just based off their hair.
I don't think there wasn't a law technically that said you couldn't. It was just they enshrined this in the law to say you can't for sure. Like if you
It
do,
happened
now
so
you're in
many
trouble.
times.
Because
Yeah.
they would like, you know how there's like bylaws for certain businesses, and it'll be like what they call unkempt.
Yeah, you have to keep your hair.
So now they're gonna say, hey, just because unkempt can't include these hairstyles, which is hilarious because it's like, hey, fuck you. And the government's like, hey, fuck you, you're not going to be able to do this anymore, which I thought was pretty lit.
Or they'll say professional look, like, but it's like, what do you call professional looking? Like,
First of all,
Somebody's natural hair should be professional, period.
Yeah.
Like,
if you don't like my hair, fuck you. I ain't had a bad hair day ever in life.
well, I know that not to be true because I saw you going through Adam's hairstyles.
No, shout out
Good
Adam.
shit.
It's all right.
Nah, I'm just kidding. I saw him at the Strawberry Festival, and he
Yeah.
was like, "Come in and get your beard done." And I was like, I looked at him. He's like, "I got you. Thanks for promoting me." And I came home and just fixed my beard. I was like, "Thanks for the heads up." I should have went in there and had him do it, but I was like, "Nah, I have to go to a family thing."
You should have had him do it. He does my beard all the time. So
I saw him lining up in the video, so
know.
makes sense. I also had to bring this up because I thought this was hilarious. Happy Pride Month. This was put
it's
out.
Pride Month.
Yeah, it's Pride Month. This was put out by NYPD. I don't know if you guys have noticed based on this on the bottom corner.
oh wait, they added letters.
Look at the bottom. Look at the bottom.
All colors are beautiful.
This is on a police car. What are the first letter of every
So
one of those words?
why-
All ACAB. They hid ACAB on the police cars of the Pride car. Whoever did the graphic for it hid ACAB. Isn't that hilarious?
I just
I
well,
have no-
that's
I have no
that's
idea what that
hilarious,
means.
but that's also
ACAB? All cops are bastard. You know.
Oh,
They basically they found a way to put ACAB on there, which is hilarious.
I mean, that's just I get that part, but it is still another way of just
What-
saying
what
all
are-
lives matter. If all,
what?
so I'm sorry, but
colors.
it's the same shit.
What's IA?
IA. Well, it depends on who you ask. So, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, queer, transsexual. No, trans.
Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, queer,
Or questioning. I is intersex.
Oh,
or
inquiring.
asexual.
I is could be intersex or it could be there's another one too. And then A is asexual or agender or there's a lot of, and then the plus just is any other letter. I think they could have just done LGBT plus and we'd have known.
Yeah, because if you add other letters and then you put plus, it's like why did you add the plus if it was already included in the plus? You know what?
I want to know the other letters in Disney because it's Disney Plus. So what are the other letters? What are the other letters in Disney? It's probably LGBTQ.
It's probably HH.
Yeah, H. Oh,
I said it.
He said it.
Oh, I just got that. Yeah, well, if you know the history of Disney, you'll catch that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Disney didn't like the people that ran Hollywood.
Yeah, or Jews.
Same thing.
I know. I was just trying to be a little bit more on the head for the people at home that don't know, that aren't Kanye affiliated or Kyrie affiliated. I do find that interesting that the two most famous anti-Jew black people both have K's in their name. You know what I mean?
Yeah. KK. We just need one more, and we got the trifecta.
The trifecta. Maybe somebody from Kokomo. We know our past in this town. Yeah. I just thought it was interesting that they hid
Klay
ACAB
Thompson
in
to
it.
get weird.
Klay Thompson gets weird. Well, we don't need a basketball player. We don't need another one. We need to find somebody in football. Who can we think of? We have any? Are there any K's that we can think of? Khalil Mack, maybe. I don't know.
That might be good. That might be the one.
Yeah, we'll find somebody to take over. I thought that was interesting enough with that. So we got the build the bussy, and then we've got the ACAB on the car. I mean, we're having a great Pride Month so far. Hey, is there?
It's Pride Month?
Yeah, it's Pride Month. You know that?
Shit.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even know.
Yeah. You know that? I saw something pretty interesting that I thought you
by the
guys
end of the month.
you guys might find pretty interesting here. I think it. What? Hold on. No, that one's pretty insane, but that's not the one I wanted to. Did you guys see that the average body temperature has fallen over the last 150 years? Oh. So our temperature over the last 150 years as a species has dropped, which got me thinking a little bit about like The Last of Us. You guys watched The Last of Us?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen that?
I know. I'm aware of it.
I know a guy, a bootleg club guy.
Yeah. You gotta watch The Last of Us.
Yeah, it's but it's about how like there's certain types of fungus that can't enter our body because of our temperature is like too, and it was actually the other way around. It was like our temperature's too low. And
we went too high or something.
This
like
one,
that.
they're saying that our temperatures are actually dropping, and I read that it was based off of So this was part of it. So between technology and our testosterone and microplastics and all that type of stuff, I figured this would really pique your interest because of all the conspiracy stuff.
I figured it was because of air conditioning.
No, it would make sense because that
was like my first thought. Like our bite, yeah, because we have air conditioning everywhere now.
No, they're saying it's actually because we're testosterone as a culture is going down.
Yeah, we're testosterone deficient. Yeah,
like in the world, our entire testosterone is dropping. Men's, women's, everybody's because the
I mean,
first of all, tell me something I don't know. I smoke a whole lot of weed, right? I don't. My T levels are low as shit.
But no, the testosterone.
His THC levels though
are high as fuck.
Like, I want to say I was reading, but that's cap. I watched the video.
Say reading, we all do.
It's the same thing.
I was reading a book on.
I read an article. No, I watched the YouTube video on this. But it's talking about like women's birth control.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so women they take birth control. It changes like their estrogen levels and stuff like that, and then they go pee. And then the pee goes into the sewage system. It gets filtered through, but they don't filter estrogen out of water.
Yep.
So the estrogen goes back into our normal water supply. And if you don't drink tap water, like when you take a shower or you take a bath, like it's going in your pores.
Yep.
And that's the reason why people became testosterone deficient.
Well, that's part of the reason. And then like it's happening, like microplastics also negatively impact testosterone and development in general. So like they're saying like this is a really weird concept, but we'll get into it because it's kind of crazy. But they're saying the average male distance between their balls and like their gooch distance, basically between your balls and your asshole, is decreasing, which is directly correlated to testosterone levels going down. So they can actually test a baby's distance and their gooch to their balls, from their balls to their asshole, and tell that they have a testosterone deficiency, even babies. So It's pretty insane, and that's obviously male babies. You know?
Right.
Babies
I mean, also you got to think about like everything's GMO now, so it's like if you eat chicken, like they're hens, like, and we eat eggs and stuff like that. So if they're being pumped with a certain hormone, and then we consume that hormone, like now those hormones are inside us.
Yeah, that's true.
We're killing ourselves.
We're slowly taking ourselves out.
I came with a chicken sandwich.
I can't wait to be a zombie.
Yeah, and then I saw this where Peta put out, think twice before ordering that chicken sandwich. T-Rexes wouldn't approve of you eating their descendants. If you wouldn't eat a T-Rex, don't eat a chicken. And I'm like, how the fuck do you know I wouldn't eat a T-Rex?
I would love to eat a T-Rex.
Bro, I throw that motherfucker in the smoker so fast.
Like, that would be awesome. Like,
Bro.
you know how long you could eat off a T-Rex?
Oh,
I
dude,
know,
forever.
right? Bro, you think about T-Rex ribs, bro? I bet they-
Like,
Oh man, you're eating ribs for like one
Right.
rib for like
oh,
ever.
you're
and
eating
it
like
kills
Fred
two-
Flintstone.
And
Like,
it kills two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
You cut out pork, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that works.
Yeah, and you're eating more chicken. I think it's pretty funny that I've never
Yeah.
thought of. I know T-Rexes or chickens are descendant from like dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But I've never directly thought between like, oh, we're eating little tiny T-Rexes all the goddamn.
Yeah, like, or I'm saying, like, even people that eat gator, like that's a common
yeah.
thing, like, especially, like, in Florida and stuff, like, people love that, like, and I can just imagine that a T-Rex would be similar in taste, like,
Yeah.
I still gotta try gator.
Yeah.
I want some, yeah.
yeah, I want some, too.
Gator don't play no shit.
I love that gator too.
Did you guys see the? This was a big news this week. The nun whose body shows little decay. She passed away in 2019 and draws hundreds to her. I don't know why they dug her ass back up, but
Like, who does that?
exactly. I posted it and I was like, damn. When they say black don't crack, they weren't lying.
But, like, how did they even know? Like, what was the reason, like,
know.
initially to even check?
Like,
My,
yeah, why
my
are we?
guess would be necrophilia.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Hey, listen. If Catholic priests are just having sex with dead bodies, I'll take it because they've had a history of going after other people.
And then there's
I
a
mean, if we're gonna
there's-
talk about people in the churches like
There's a
doing inappropriate
commercial
things
about
with
that.
people, we might as well just talk about that.
I don't want to bring up a name, but there's a certain public figure in Kokomo that just has been getting called out recently, who's a big member of the Catholic Church
They're not saying he touched anybody, but
that we know of.
That
you
yeah.
know?
They're definitely saying that he liked for people to spit on his sandwich and faces and shit like
Pee
that.
in jars and stuff and leave it for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a member of the community that worked at a local
Did he
school.
pay him for it?
He paid.
He
him
paid.
for it.
Yeah, he was paying. But these are underage boys that he was getting.
I got a whole bunch of issues with this whole shit.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't know. I knew this dude, and because he happened to be one of my teachers, and I'm
Yeah.
just kind of mad, bro. You never offered me $1 to do shit.
Yeah.
I know that's like
Racist.
I'm like
Racist.
I know he's racist.
I'm like,
right?
I'm not even gonna. If I was like 16, somebody paid me like $50 to piss in a jar, like shit. I'll do
Well,
that for free.
here's the thing that happened, and this is what a lot of it's coming down to. First off, they were underage kids, so underage boys who were athletes and like stuff like that. That's what I'm hearing. And then the other thing was that it was like sandwiches and like dirty underwear and like weird. It's very, very weird. Like he wanted to be humiliated and degraded, basically was the thing. And he was paying these kids, but a lot of these kids have developed drug habits and addiction issues because this is an inappropriate thing that messed with their brain at a
it's
young
a
age.
psychological thing.
Yeah, so basically the theory or the thing that's in question is he's created an entire like generation of young boys at a school.
because then they'll start doing the same shit.
And they're
Like,
Well, they
it
could do the same
develops
thing,
things,
or
yeah.
or their life has like
derailed.
yes,
completely.
derailed. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, obviously, I don't want to put out a name because a lot of this it's allegations at this point. There hasn't been any charges brought up, and there's still a lot of stories coming out. But I know there is a lady. I don't have her name. Do you have the name of the lady? We might be able to look it up. But if
Do
you
your
have a
own
story
research.
about this, if you've heard something about this, or you have, I guess not heard, but if you have firsthand experience, they are getting people together that are going after this guy. And I know a lot of this has been posted on the Kokomo in the Know page, which is like their 5th or 6th page in a row. 'Cause
We're
they have
not
to keep
promoting
their
that
stuff.
page,
and we're not
by the way,
promoting them.
'cause
And I
fuck
feel
them
like
too.
because they have ulterior motives for this, it's not even about the people who were victimized. It's about trying to get at the mayor, which I mean,
Yeah,
how's the mayor supposed to know what somebody did fucking 10, 15
Yeah,
years ago?
yeah. I heard about
Yeah, I don't have a
the
name on the
Kokomo
lady,
Press,
but
Kokomo in the Know beef a long time.
Kokomo in the Know, like the beef between us and them. The funny thing is, like, I have no interest in them or desire against them, but I know our one of our admins, Brian, and the guy who runs the Kokomo Post have gotten into it multiple times. So that's where my beef comes from. It's just basically like ride or die beef here. Like if you want to go after my dude,
because like honestly, like because Kokomo Press, look, I almost switched. Kokomo in the Know, like that covered a lot, like, and I literally just seen in my memories like a couple years ago when we were doing the protests and stuff like that at Foster Park. They covered a lot of our stuff, but like I won't name the member, but there was one of the members, and they like constantly were bashing Kokomo Press, and I'm just like,
I remember this.
They didn't like that we were turning the camera on the cops and saying, and I said a lot of crazy things in that live because we were kind of,
we didn't give a fuck, and we were new to this shit.
Yeah,
right?
Brand new.
Yeah, and it was basically like all I was saying was like I was talking about my personal experiences, and you can say whatever you want about your experience with cops. Maybe you've had the greatest experiences ever, but as a white dude, even I've had a horrible experience with cops, and I'm like it wasn't about me at the time, but somebody was asking in the chat, so I hit them back, and I was like, I personally have never had a positive experience with the cops.
Right.
I've seen them posted on Kokomo Scanner. I've seen them posted on in the brief and on these right wing pages. Yeah. But like for me personally, every single time I've had an interaction with a cop, I've been either fucked over or treated inappropriately, in my opinion, and that's just me.
Yeah, and then like honestly, like when we were doing like the actual organizers, like when me and Tay were doing it, like. We like made sure like even though like across the nation it was like a Black Lives Matter movement, like we wanted to let it be known like this is not a Black Lives Matter movement thing. This is about Kokomo Lives Matter. Like we're dealing with our own city first and foremost.
Yeah, at the
and
local
we're dealing
smallest
with KPD.
level, yeah.
We're dealing with the Howard County Jail. Like that's what our targets were. That's what we were speaking on. We were speaking about like this is before they found like well, allegedly, I guess he hasn't been indicted, but like Karina McClurkin, like
there was
an unsolved case, like and then like Tavares McGuire who died in police custody. Like,
did they figure out anything more on Tavares?
Last thing I checked, I think his mother's about to get a settlement.
Okay. Well, at least, I mean, that's a consolation. Obviously, the life would have been more.
Yeah.
Right.
We'd rather have the life still, but
like I don't think there was any criminal charges or anything like. But like the civil case.
Well,
like,
I personally, and this come from me, and you guys can jump in if you want here, but I do want to give a little bit of flowers because we had Greg Goodnight for many years, a Democrat, ran town by the Democrat mayor, and a lot of these things weren't being solved. And since Tyler Moore has been in, we've seen people who've gotten charges for Karina McClurkin, people that charges. What's the other young girl that was murdered? I can't remember her name right now. The young white girl, Destiny Pittman.
Yeah.
And then recently, Chad Rouse's murder has been. So there's been some real headway gained on a lot of these unsolved cases of murders in Kokomo, and I'm not saying necessarily it's Tyler Moore, but I am saying whatever he gave more resources to the police.
Exactly. And then also it isn't necessarily like party wise. Because Greg Goodnight was just an asshole.
Yeah.
Tyler Moore is a cool dude. Like Tyler Moore was with us like at the protest and like I remember, talking to like I have pictures with him. Like
He was down there with like local black leaders and stuff, and I know there was a lot of controversy about the local black leaders coming in because it felt like they were trying to control, like coming in and taking this youth movement.
No. We were pissed off.
There we go.
Like like honestly, bro, we were like the church people and like the like people that like weren't actually like in the streets, like like we've been in here, we've been out here for the past 4 days. We didn't been in the rain. We slept under a bridge, because it was raining too hard for people to walk home. Like, so we just stayed together. Like, if you didn't have a ride, like we literally did that. And we're like, y'all want to come in and y'all want us to sing Negro spirituals and like march around the downtown. We're like, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, and then Danny Zuko came in.
I remember Danny,
and he was like a mediator between both. Like, hey, like, and he gave like this like heartwarming speech, and it was just like from the heart. Like he didn't.
We were down there.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, like so, like basically, like while we're all pissed off, like they like there was some protest that just wanted to tear that shit up.
Yeah,
like,
I was mad
because of the way they tried to do it. Like we're having a real protest, and y'all are trying to have like a choir, and y'all like, and then they did this one shit like where like it was fucking Brian Selden and whoever else is under him, like as the police, and like they wanted like everybody come kneel in prayer, and like, I'm like, man, get y'all bitch ass up. Like, I'm like, they can kneel down. We're not kneeling down right now. Yeah. Like this is our protest. This
no harm kneeling. What started this bullshit?
Yeah. Like I swear, bro. And then what's so funny is like they caught all of this like the Kokomo Tribune, like they had all of it, but they didn't. They didn't have any of those. They didn't have any of that information posted in the media. Like,
well, that's the thing. They really wanted to make this look like a good wholesome thing, and we protested about a varying amount of different things. It wasn't just one thing.
We move that a little bit. It's interfering with the mic. You're all right. You're all right.
But I didn't love it when the religious leaders came through and they were just like, oh, we're gonna fix this. Now, honestly, a lot of them I knew for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I know that they're adamant in this community, but they aren't helping the parts of the community that needed the help the most. The parts of the community that needed the help the most is with things like the police force, just arresting people willy nilly and then causing a downward cycle of these things, right?
Yeah, from what I understood, it felt like that the religious, leaders, in the black community were coming in at the end, like trying to take all the momentum that the youth brought to the movement and saying, okay, let's get some of the stuff we want to get done. And it was like, hold on, bro, like you haven't even talked to these people.
Yeah, like we did, like no, like
you don't
we were
speak
real
for everybody.
we weren't coming in there saying, oh, like. All lives matter, Black lives matter. We came in here, we said, fuck 12, fuck the police, like defund the police. That was our movement.
That's why the Kokomo and the No and the Kokomo Bree people were mad at us, because that's kind of what our energy was in the moment, because we were pretty upset. Like,
bro, I felt that shit. Look, I at the time, man, I just got off probation and house arrest over some bullshit, man.
Yeah.
Like some shit that like if this community really wanted to help our people, they would look at the things that like I went through, right? And the reasons why I went through the things that I went through, and they'd be like, oh, well, if we maybe did something about this drug problem, maybe that wouldn't have happened. Yeah. Because I didn't go to like jail because I had a drug problem or anything like that. I went to jail because like I was lied to or lied about. Like because of somebody else that had a drug problem and shit like that. Yeah.
Which was where I was coming from as well when I said I've never had a positive reaction. Interaction with the police, because it felt like every time I had an interaction, it was like I wasn't listened to, and that was like I think what a lot of people were saying in the moment were like, maybe you guys should hire some people that are willing to like. They're supposed to be trained in de-escalation. That's the first thing to do. And it feels like every time they come through, they want to escalate. Yeah. And then we're not saying every single officer, just like we're not saying every single anything ever. Yeah. But when there's a disproportionate number of officers that are coming in escalating instead of de-escalating, and then not taking any of what we're saying into the like I had an officer come into my house and let my kid be taken out of my arms, and not for no reason other than that. They just let it happen with my ex. And obviously I've moved past that a lot, but in the moment I was just like this. And then I had another issue with an ex where I was literally given permission by the ex to come in and get my shit out of the house, and was in there and brought a couple people to help me. And then she was like, nah, get these people out of the house. And I'm like, you gave me permission. I didn't give you permission for them. I'm like, I need help. I can't
do it by myself.
And then all of a sudden, when the cops show up, they're like, "You need to give her the key." And I'm like, "Motherfucker, I'm on this. Like, you can't just."
This is my key.
I haven't even got my shit out yet. I'm not going to give away the one way I can get in. And even on top of the fact that I have a key, I didn't even just come in. I asked before I came. Yeah, I have it on wax. You can see it in the message.
Yeah, but you could have if you wanted to.
Yeah, and it was like I was more respectful than I had to be.
Yeah, or even like how they could have even done it was like, okay. Then just sit outside until I'm done.
Yeah, she don't need to be in here.
Like, or no, I'm talking about the cops. The cop, like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, okay, you guys are having a thing, all right. So, well, I'll just sit outside just to make sure there's no escalated problems. Yep. You can have a peaceful, which I've had a situation like that where I did come across some cool cops that were just like, all right, just come let him grab his stuff. And they just chilled outside. Like, they weren't intrusive or anything.
Yeah, they did the whole grab your stuff thing, but then when the cops showed up, they still wouldn't let my people help me. And I'm like, how am I supposed to carry this shit up by myself? Like, it was a whole stupid thing. And then I ended up being able to get most of my stuff later on when she cooled down. But my thing is, just because a woman is mad at the moment, even though I got permission, doesn't mean she's right. You know what I mean? And that's my thing is, like, they come from a point of, like, they were trying to de-escalate the situation by just giving her what she wanted. Yeah. And I'm like, that's not de-escalation. That's literally just not listening to my side.
Yeah, you're just being an asshole. Because I had a situation like that when I was, like, 19 or 20 years old. Like, me and my girlfriend had an apartment. We're both on the lease. Yeah. Like, and I paid all the fucking bills, mind you. Like, and, like, we got into it. Like, we were arguing and stuff like that. And I did get upset. And I started throwing shit. Like, but I didn't throw it at her. Like, I threw shit into the wall and stuff. Like, and then they kept trying to press her. Like, if he threatened you, if he hit, just let us.
They
know.
were trying to like coach her into. Like,
Well,
they were trying-
that's what they do, and that was kind of my point.
She was like, no, he was just mad. He was throwing stuff, and he was like, you don't have to lie to us. And she's like, no, like,
Yeah.
See, that was my point. You talk about de-escalation. They don't de-escalate here.
Yeah.
They arrest people, which causes people to then go to jail, incur fines and
Yeah,
fees,
they like
have to go
tried
through
to make it
probation
seem like
and
I
things
put
like
my
that.
hands on her, which I didn't. Like, she didn't have, like, clearly can look at her and see she's not harmed at all. Like, but like, you do see like 3 holes in the wall. Like, yeah, this is my house. I can do that. Like, I have to worry about paying the security deposit or get my security deposit taken, but it's not a crime.
See, the week before,
At least she didn't lie on you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, like,
at least she was. I mean, at least she was honest, and that's the thing. Like the week before with the shit that happened with my ex, when I was there, when I came to get my shit by myself, she had broken an entire candy bowl. She was throwing shit, breaking shit, broke multiple things in the house. And then when I tried to leave, because I got some of it on tape, she was freaking out because I had it on tape, and she grabbed me by my backpack and was like holding me there. And I was like, and I had that on tape too, and she was mad about that. But she was like, you need to delete it before you know, that thing.
No, I've seen that too. I've seen that too. I know, and I hope you're watching this.
I hope you're watching this right now.
Make sure to add her.
There is this girl, and like, no, like, it wasn't even my personal situation. It was my homie's situation. And he was living with this girl, and she got upset with him, and he wanted to leave. Like, he just wanted to get his stuff and leave. She literally took her head and banged it against the wall 3 times. Like, and she's like, I'm going to call the cops on you. And she's like, have you seen Liar Liar?
Yeah.
I'm whooping my own ass.
I'm kicking my own ass. Do you mind? Yeah, I love that scene.
And I'm like, oh, shit, I got to get the fuck out of it. So I'll grab my shit immediately.
I'm getting the fuck out of here.
That's how it be.
My mom made that comment when I was younger. I remember my mom had a roommate, another woman roommate who was like the toughest woman I've ever met in my life. And she said, are you leaving?
No, I'll be right back.
Shit. Like, I gotta be, party foul.
You got to pay.
He's like, I got a party foul. But yeah, I had my mom had a roommate that she was getting into it. My older brother at the time. My older brother was getting a little, heated and getting a little, physical, but not like with her.
Yeah.
And my mom, and he said, I guess he had like pulled back, and my mom was like, please hit me. She said, because if you don't leave a mark, I'll have her leave a mark, and I'll say you did it. And I always felt like that was like, I understood where she was coming from, because she's like, even if you hit me, you don't leave a mark, I'm gonna make sure there is a mark. I kind of got the concept as younger, but as I got older, I was like, that's such a weird
That's so
thing
fucked
to say.
up.
It's a weird thing to say.
Like, if you don't do it, I'm gonna set you up to make it look like you did. Like,
And it's nothing against my mom. Obviously, I love my mom to death, and I think really like where she was coming from was like, if you're gonna hit me, make sure you leave a mark, because if not, I'm gonna make sure there's a mark.
yeah, like
But
like even if like I can't, like, if you actually do it, like, you're gonna get in trouble for it, whether or not you can get in trouble for it.
Whether or not you can prove there's a mark, there's gonna be one.
Like if you're out here selling it's still messed up, but like you're out here, you're selling 100 pounds of dope out my house, and you didn't get caught selling 100 pounds of dope out my house. I'm gonna leave a pound of dope in the house to get found, so you can get in trouble for the other 100 pounds that you did, like, because you need punishment for what you done, like.
It's a weird situation to have to be in regardless, but it's also one of those things. I actually saw this. I was going to bring this up, and since we got Hypocrisy / Jordan / the old Mr. Bell man, the curator. The Indie Police or the Indie Peace Fellowship, the city of Indianapolis hired 40 peacemakers who respond to every shooting scene in efforts of preventing retaliation and providing families with resources. I thought this is actually one of the positive things that spun out of.
That's what happened. Like, it was in I want to say it's Milwaukee.
Yeah.
When they burned down the police station, and so they didn't have a police force.
Yeah.
But the community came together and they defunded the police, but the community came together and they were the first responders for everything. Like, before you call the police, before you do anything, like, hey, call these people, and they came and they de-escalated a lot of situations because they were civilians.
Yeah, and let me. I
love that idea.
In my opinion, let me be clear. Like, I don't think that the cops shouldn't exist. Like, I don't think a lot of people, when they say defund the police, what they're meaning is like, don't give them like these SWAT. They don't need SWAT and all these things all the time.
Yeah. It doesn't mean completely cut them out.
Yeah.
Like,
What it means is like, and give resources to things like this, where you got peacemakers who show up and can actually help people rather than they're just there to like. Because a lot of people, when you see a police officer come up, you immediately tense up. That butthole gets tight as fuck. You ain't got no pussy at that point because your butthole gets super tight and you're like, oh, here we go. Like, I gotta be. You almost get on edge. Like, I saw a video. Like, half my TikTok feed is just like cop interaction videos because I'm weird like that.
I can't even cap because like a lot of my police interactions was like resisting arrest, but it's like, if you're gonna arrest me, you're gonna do your fucking job today. Like, you got 6 motherfuckers here. I'm gonna make sure you need 6 of them.
He's the Killdozer in real life.
I'm not gonna assault, like, and like everything's on camera. Like, I'm not gonna assault you, but I'm also not gonna willingly put my hands behind my back.
Right.
Like, I'm not gonna get on my motherfucker, do it.
Yeah, you have to give me these lawful commands before I do. I'm not just gonna give it to you. It's such a bizarre, because we know that a lot of times the law is one thing and what they do is another, and it's like you've got to find a good balance. And I think having this happen with the Indie Peace Fellowship and actually the city putting their money where their mouth is when it came to these protests, because there was a protest in Indy as well, and saying, you know what, we're gonna get people that come out here and they actually help provide the families with resources and try to give them an advocate they can talk to that isn't going to be used in a court of law. Like, 'cause that's part of the issue too. Sometimes you're trying to explain a situation and now you've explained it wrong and now they want to arrest you for the shit. And it's like, I didn't mean that. I said it wrong and now it's on wax and you're like, I'm fucked.
Right. That's why they say don't, like, a lawyer will tell you not to say shit.
Don't even talk to them. Yeah.
Like, literally do not say shit.
Am I being accused of a crime?
Don't even act like, just literally don't, like, because that's what I did. Like, I got in a situation, it was in Lafayette, and like, I literally did not say anything. Like, they were asking like my name. They asked me a bunch and I literally did not say anything.
As you should. Just keep walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, they arrested me. Like, I let them arrest me. Like, I went to jail. They kept saying stuff. I just did not say anything. Like my ID was in my pocket. Like, you know who I am. Like,
trying to see if there's a couple more topics I want to hit on real quick if you guys want to before we wrap this up.
Gotcha.
First one is, I saw this. I've actually had this for a couple weeks, and then I was like, this might be fun to talk about. But a Biden diplomat apologized for saying Afghan women need black girl magic and learned from Beyonce and Lizzo under Taliban leadership. Can you imagine?
Yo, what made her think to say that?
Are Afghans familiar with black girl magic and the movement it inspired? Do Afghan girls need a similar movement? What about Afghan women? Teach me, ready to learn. Like, I get it. Like, she was trying to come from she's trying to come from a place like, we can help, like, but let's use our minority.
She's trying to. That's like the same thing. Like, in the Biden person, that's like when, like, before you got elected, they're like, if you don't vote for Biden, you're not black. Like,
oh yeah.
If that memory came up.
Donuts one?
Yeah, that memory came up for just the other day. And when I recorded, I was just like, man, fuck this guy.
So I have these two back to back that I want you guys to consider together. The first one is my boyfriend's cancer battle was ruining my mental health, so I left him. Now I'm running a marathon in his honor. So this bitch running a 5K in his honor. Okay, so that's the first half of this, and the second half is
bitch.
And the second half is my husband flies first class and puts me in coach. Is that fair?
He bought you the ticket.
So what I'm wondering here is, okay, so we've got one situation where there's a cancer battle, a man's going through cancer and a woman leaves him and then still wants to act like, wants to pretend like she's like helping.
That's narcissism.
I have questions. I need more answers. Like, did he beat cancer or was?
No, it doesn't seem like he did.
I would haunt that bitch. Like, you just want clout off of me now. Like, bitch, you left me when I was on my deathbed,
I know,
and
right?
now you're.
That's what I'm saying. Isn't that crazy?
You probably get donations too.
Yeah.
Like,
she's probably like, I set up a GoFundMe for Ryan.
Oh, you bitch! I'd haunt the shit out of you.
She's like, we need to get his tombstone ready. I'm like, bitch, you could have done this while he was alive.
Right.
Right. You. I don't condone calling women bitches, but that's a bitch right there.
Oh yeah, that's some bitch
When it
shit,
fits,
bro.
it fits. But then the other one is, like I said, the man gets himself first class ticket and puts her in coach.
Well, I mean, if she couldn't afford to upgrade herself, that's her problem.
I mean, it was free. He paid for it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and then not only that, like, what did she do prior to that? Like,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. That's
And what
interesting.
if he just got randomly upgraded?
Yeah.
Right. Because the airlines do that. They're just like, hey, we got an opening in first class. You want to?
Maybe after he found out she was bitching, he randomly upgraded his girl in his life too. Hopefully.
Well, I mean, maybe after beating cancer, he was like, fuck this bitch.
No,
these are different. But
I know.
I'm with you on that.
But yeah, like no, like he's like, all right, you can come with me, but you know what? I'm tired. Like it's like the same thing. Like let's say like a woman gets upset and she tells the dude like, oh, you can't sleep in the bed, you gotta go sleep on the couch. Like, all right, like I'm upset with you. Like I'm going to first. You can go sit and coach. Like
I'm gonna call this the gender war section because I do have a lot of these that I got a couple of them there, but this was actually a funny one too. A woman from England makes men submit a 500-word essay to date her. Asking for an essay is definitely a good way of weeding out what you do and don't want. Is she hot enough to warrant that? What do you think?
I mean, for someone like she's not my preference personally, but I would just use Chat GPT.
She gets like 12 of them that say the same shit. This is what it was invented
and
for.
then I use the other app to humanize it. I can't think of the other app. There's another app you can use to take shit from Chat GPT.
He's like, no, this is easy. 500 word. Hey, Chat GPT, write me a 500-word essay to try to date this redhead bitch.
Like, really?
I get what she's saying.
I mean, it makes sense. It probably is hard to weed out guys, but
I wish I would have asked some folks for like just give me a promo, not a 500-word essay, but just like give me a promo, right? Your best promo, right?
So I got,
but at the same time, like, bitch, you are so stuck up because honestly, you can get 500 words out of text message conversation for a week.
True.
Not wrong.
It's not a lot of words, but it is a weird thing to like request. From
Yeah, that's
somebody.
what I'm saying. Like within a week, like talking to someone back and forth, you'll get a 500-word essay if you'll just talk to somebody.
Just get to know them.
You don't even have to literally date them in person. Just send a fucking text message. Like,
well, I've seen something recently. I don't remember what it was, a video or something.
Submit a resume.
Where a guy
cover
was
page.
talking about Bumble. You know, because Bumble women make the first move. The guys can't message the girls first. The women message first. And apparently the guy was like, man, these women they have terrible pickup lines. It's like once you put them in the driver's seat, they have no idea what the fuck to say. And I'm like, yeah, driver's seat. They can't drive.
They can't drive.
Anyway, this was a funny one too. I wanted to ask your guys' opinion on this one. Is this guy a king or not? He said, in 2012, a Chicago man bought a car for $600, registered it in his ex-girlfriend's name, then parked it at O'Hare Airport and racked up 678 parking tickets totaling $105,761 and 80 cents.
He is the goat. Goat.
That's some goat stats, right? He said, fuck that bitch.
I love everything about that. I'm not gonna lie.
That is goat stats. But, like, at the same time, she has every right to sue his ass.
Yeah, she should come for him a little bit, because that's a little wild.
But it's hilarious that he did. Like, I think it would be worth every penny to him. Like,
I mean, she'd have to prove it, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you're allowed to register a car in somebody else's name, then that's actually a law problem.
That's not.
That ain't his fault.
Yeah.
Oh shit! And then I saw this one right here. I know this has kind of popped up on social media a lot. Did you guys see that 82-year-old Al Pacino is expecting his fourth child with his 29-year-old girlfriend?
he better get the DNA test.
I thought this bitch's last name was Alfalfa, but it's Alfalfa. I don't know. That's a weird.
Yeah, he better get DNA test. I'm not sure about this.
When I saw this picture, I was like, all right, she's all right. She's not a bad, but she's all right. But then I looked at him and I was like, he looks horrible right now.
82-year-old sperm still works.
Yeah, I guess.
It supposedly does, but I said he better get DNA test. She's probably getting cracked.
I mean, that's a power move for her. Go her.
Yeah.
If you really did.
I mean, she gonna be raising her kids and be like, "That's your dad on any given Sunday." I know you don't remember him because he's dead now, but
I mean, like, I wonder, like, this is another one I need more answers.
I know,
like,
it's like we need.
Did they do like in vitro fertilization?
Nah, I think
like,
homeboy just.
He was just his sperm just came.
That's a
out
good
at
question, but the real
82,
question
like,
was who was on top. Because is she on top on this? Because like it seems like
I don't know. I do know of other stories like older men that could still produce sperm. Like,
well, I know you do. I know but as the sperm gets older, the more genetic issues can happen. Like,
yeah,
I know,
exactly.
Like one of the things things I read, and I could be wrong here, so if I'm wrong, scratch this from the internet, but I read something along the lines of like Down syndrome and like autism increase with the older sperm.
Really?
Yeah. Because like, as we get older, our cells aren't replicating.
Yes, older DNA.
So even our DNA
You're
cells
like
aren't.
half old ass dude.
Yeah.
I like.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I'm looking at this and I'm like, he just looks so horrible. I shared it and I was like, so I guess his new movie is just called The Father instead of Godfather because he's just the father.
But like another thing is like about that though. I've noticed people that have like, and I think there's like an incline and a decline.
Yeah.
Because people I know that have older parents, they tend to have more common sense than people with younger parents.
Yeah. You think he's like common sense is genetic? So the more wisdom you get from your parents, the more that makes sense with all these teen moms. Then why they're all
I really do think that's the thing. Like I think it's like nature versus nurture type thing.
Yeah.
But I think some of that shit is like real thing because like my parents were both like in their like mid 30s when like I was conceived, like, and I feel like which also I was raised by them, so like nature versus nurture again. But people I know with older parents, they tend to be more reasonable than people.
Well, part of that could just be that like if you have older parents, you also have a strong. The longer you're on this earth, the stronger your foundation in life should be. So hopefully they've got stronger roots as well. So you're not getting some young like if you got a 16-year-old mom, 18-year-old mom, 20-year-old mom. It might not have been the best situation when they were hooking up. You know what I mean?
Nurture.
Yeah, I mean that's a good call. I got a couple more here I want to go through. First one is we talked a little bit last week with Annie about Taylor Swift concert she's going to, and I don't know if you guys saw this, but Taylor Swift fans are wearing adult diapers so they don't miss songs during her 3-hour performance. Do you guys think this? Like, is there any artist you can think of that you're like, I'll wear a diaper to watch them perform for 3 hours? I can't think of one.
I would piss on the floor before I wore an adult diaper.
I actually have pissed on the floor. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no.
It reminds me of the season finale.
And then honestly, that isn't even that a ridiculous amount of time. Like, go to the bathroom before it starts. Like,
well, I mean, he did just get up during the podcast to go pee, so
he
might need the diaper.
I mean, at least I didn't piss on myself.
That's true.
Like you don't catch Beehive fans doing
imagine
this
you're
shit
on camera.
right?
Yeah, that's true.
right. Yeah, they would never.
No, bro. Yeah. They just like kill other people.
I was watching the new Lil Dicky. Have you guys watched the season finale yet?
I haven't seen the season.
I ain't gonna ruin it, but there's a P plays an important part of that episode, and it's one of the most insane things I've ever seen. I was dying laughing. Me and Shelby looked at each other like, "Who the fuck wrote this episode? This is insane." But it's the last episode I think of the season, so pretty insane. I think
it's called Dave.
Dave.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Dave. I saw this is a weird one. 3 teenagers stole Faye, a swan who for more than a decade was a fixture at the pond in upstate New York village, killed her and then ate her. The police said they believed that it was just a very large duck. So 3 people ate a swan.
I mean, shit. Is it a crime?
That's what I want to know too. I was like, is there like a law in place that says you can't? If it's in the wild,
we eat chickens and shit all the time.
Was it in the wild or was it in a public park though?
It sounds like it is.
Well, sounds like it was
public park is wild. Though.
I mean, shit, fuck it.
Right. Public park.
Yeah, but I don't think you can like hunt or capture.
That's true.
Animals.
That's bullshit. Like, it's a fucking animal. Like, if a squirrel comes in my yard, I feel like I should be able to.
Well, that's
the difference.
land.
Your yard
property,
and like if you're in Highland Park, man, I don't think you can just be like.
I can't eat a squirrel from Highland Park, but I can.
Scenario.
Maybe a squirrel, but maybe
scenario.
not
you're in Highland Park and you're surrounded by geese, and then so you call the cops. This happened recently. Did you see that? The lady that got attacked, got surrounded by geese at Highland Park, called the cops.
I love that we pulled the live footage from that. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's a real thing though. Because I used to go to McKinley School and I used to walk to school, so I'd go through Foster Park,
right?
And like those motherfuckers would really run up on you, like, and so I would just grab a big stick, like
they're hissing like a motherfucker.
And I don't even know if you're allowed to. I don't care. I hit the motherfuckers if they got too close.
I think it's okay with the geese because they're Canadian and no one likes them anyway. So like
the ducks, they won't kill. Like if you call the cops on the ducks, they won't come because they're white. So
Yeah.
the geese have the black heads. They're like, oh god, come on.
Like what? Like, and then what are the police allowed? Like, are they above the law? Like,
Yeah,
can they
right.
attack them? Like,
Probably. I mean,
they can shoot your dog on your property if they want. So
Yeah,
technically,
true.
I mean, if you're being honest, I saw that. And then this one's an interesting one. I want to get you guys' perspective on this. Gen Z have a brand new obsession. It's called bed rotting. Have you guys heard of bed rotting? It's a very TikTok thing. But bed rotting is a new trend where basically it's just people that instead of like they just on their weekends instead of like going out and doing things, they decide to spend an entire day just kind of like just chill. It's like basically just hanging out at home and like saying, you know what, fuck, I'm not doing anything. Just laying in
that
bed.
sounds way better than bed rotting.
I think bed rotting sounds horrible because
It's like
gross.
that sounded horrible. Like I just thought like there's so many things that went through my mind. when I hear
I really
bed
thought
rotting.
death was involved and
Yeah.
you just shit in your sheets, but like I don't know.
Yeah, like all of that. Like you just laying in your own.
Still
filth.
watching Succession?
I am actually.
How far are you now?
Mid second season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the when he shit the bed yet?
No,
It's coming then.
Oh, okay.
It was pretty crazy.
Okay, cool.
It was random as hell. It's not even like a big part of it, but when I saw it, I was like, "What the fuck? Like this show's so odd." Have you seen Succession? Have you ever watched that?
I haven't.
It's pretty white.
I just started it.
It's white
but
people problems for sure.
It really is white people problems, but they're problems I want to have. So
Yeah. That's about white. The
Yeah.
entire time I watched it. Did you see the episode of Taking It Too Far where they were getting called out? So they had a guest, Claire, on the Taking It Too Far podcast. So check them out. They're cool guys. Brandon, Laura,
like them.
and Adam. But they did an episode and they were talking about Dave Chappelle and they were like arguing between what was better, Key and Peele show or Dave Chappelle, which obviously is Dave Chappelle if you have any
Obviously.
sense.
Yeah, that's not.
who argues for Key and Peele?
There was two of them arguing for Key and Peele.
Like,
I'd like
Brandon
to
and
meet
Laura.
these persons.
I know,
like,
right?
like,
Brandon and Laura.
Like I'm not gonna say like.
Oh, I
there's
have met
nothing
these.
wrong.
There's
There's nothing wrong with Key and Peele. Like it was a cool show, but like Chappelle's show was like top tier. Like,
It was a wash. It was
Culturally.
It was a washed down version of Chappelle's show.
Yeah, and there's some hits. There's some good.
absolutely.
There's some good ones.
Yeah, like the name draft,
Yeah,
or the
The
college
NFL
names.
jab. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah.
The NFL, the name. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what- and they had some really fun ones. Like the Obama one where he's like code switching
said-
between white people to white. He's like,
oh yeah.
I said, bitch. Oh, you said bitch.
Yeah.
They had some bangers, but
Yeah.
like culturally, it never.
It wasn't Chappelle.
There's
That's why
about
there
a
was
million.
two of them.
Yeah, there's about a million
He
things they did.
When's we gonna be free? He said, "How about now?"
Yeah, and Charlie Murphy became a household name because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rest in
exactly.
peace. You know, he's
Rest in peace, Charlie Murphy.
Yeah, he was the shit.
Charlie Murphy.
Charlie Murphy.
And then another thing about that is what was hilarious when I found out all the stories from Charlie Murphy were true.
I know,
Like,
that's crazy, right?
Like all the Rick James, all the Prince stuff,
Yeah,
like
right.
all of it were all true stories.
Even when they went back in time as the play I hate as on the way, that's one of the funniest things.
That
ever.
one's the one that needs to be true.
Yeah. It was interesting to me. One of these might be Yo Pappy, and then he looks over and he's like, "That's one of the funniest." Like, they killed that. That show. The first two seasons, obviously the third season is like a patchwork where they had Darnell and Carly just kind of go out and do their thing. But like the first two seasons of Chappelle Show are like must see TV.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen them,
absolutely.
you're missing out. Key and Peele, it's like there's some sketches.
Yeah.
So to me,
Yeah.
like the whole entirety of the Chappelle Show is important. Key and Peele have a couple of really great sketches.
Yeah.
First of all, there'd be no Key and Peele without Chappelle Show.
Yeah, they came in and basically were like, "Woo."
Yeah, like he was a big influence.
Yeah.
And I mean, Chappelle even called out and said, like, you know, they gave these two motherfuckers my show.
yeah. Basically, that's what they did.
But they were, anyway, let me go back to taking it too far because they were talking about it. And
yeah, let's talk about Brandon and Laura.
Adam-
and their bad takes.
And Adam was like, how, because Adam said something and Brandon's like, I'm not really a huge Chappelle fan. And Adam's like, Adam was speaking up for Chappelle, like, Chappelle's the go, and you guys are wrong. I can't believe you like Key and Peele better. And I'm like, I see both sides a little bit, but Chappelle Show's a better show. But at some point, the guest, her name was Claire, she does a podcast called The Broad-Minded Podcast.
Okay.
And she was talking, and she said, did you guys see his recent special where he addressed the Will Smith? And they're like, that was Chris Rock. And they looked at her like, and then apparently they posted it on TikTok and they got roasted by people like, what all black people look like kind of being like, that somebody's like, I don't know, seems racist.
Yeah, and like that's the thing, like just I think the difference, like I don't know, the difference between like Chappelle Show, like Key and Peele, like some people don't even understand Dave Chappelle's humor.
No,
Yeah.
they don't get it.
yeah, it's totally totally
Which
different.
is weird to me because I guess as a person that does understand it, it's like, how do you not get how he's one of the funniest people on the planet?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's insane. And I mean, I love that. I know we kind of had a disagreement on the Chris Rock thing, but I love that Chris Rock special. I think it's so solid. The jokes are like, to me, every section to me hits hard. I really do. Even the abortion jokes. I know the small trans joke that he did.
I still gotta go back and watch it.
Daddy is one of the
Yeah,
funniest
I'll
lines
go
ever.
back. I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
Like,
It's actually a lot. I
like
think
him
the
as a
polished
comic,
one is
though.
better.
Yeah.
The polished one, because they put out the live at the time, and he had flubbed a joke and stuff. And the Will Smith stuff to me was the least interesting. Like, it was the reason why you watched it.
Right.
But after watching it, to me, the second time I watched it around, I was like, actually, it's the least good joke in it. I mean, he had some good lines in there, but some funny shit. But they called them out for, like, they're giving them shit about the fact that they're like, you mixed up Chappelle and Rock.
Like, they're totally different people.
I know.
Completely. I
One
mean,
is
they.
bald.
But I mean, they both do talk about black things, but
Yeah.
in totally different ways.
Yeah,
Totally
like,
different ways.
their comedy style is totally
One's
different.
kind of an Uncle Tom, the other one's funny.
Pretty
simple.
Hold on, wait a minute. No.
Huh?
One of them lives in Ohio, though, so
Yeah. On a farm.
on a farm. Which one is which, though?
That one. No, I'll let you decide.
I'll go ahead and stay away from that. I don't want to get. And then I wanted to throw this out today, the 4th, which you're watching this on the 5th, but today the 4th is National Cheese Day, and I was just wondering, do you guys have a favorite cheese? Like, what? There's so many varieties of cheese. Do you guys have a favorite cheese?
My go-to right now is an everything bagel cheddar.
Yeah, I had that at your guys' like, wrestling thing. I went over there and I was like, oh, this is way better than I thought. And
Yeah.
what about you, Rhett? Prophecy or
when
Pesos?
anytime I see a cheese plate like this, it makes me think of the Boondocks. And he's like, you can't solve racial problems with gourmet cheese.
I mean, but it's a good start.
Like I don't like I like cheese. Like I like cheddar cheese.
Just like cheddar.
Yeah, but like I feel so basic saying that. Like I didn't want to say that. Like I wanted to say something more exquisite.
Yeah, you're like, maybe I could be a little more refined. You're like,
I like
nah.
queso.
Yeah,
Like, and then that's even ghetto too. Like
I don't know, man. Queso's delicious. My girl's like obsessed with queso. That's like
Queso's
her
pretty
thing.
good. I love queso.
Yeah.
I like a good brie too. It's pretty good. if it's done
Mozzarella.
right. Yeah.
There's so many good ones, like a Monterey
Gouda.
cheddar. Yeah, Gouda.
yeah, I like Gouda.
Anything but feta. I'm not really into feta at all. I've never been.
Feta's pretty good actually.
You like feta?
I
Yeah.
like it on in lasagna.
He must have a feet thing,
No, I actually hate feet. With a
I
passion.
feel like it smells and tastes like feet. I'm like,
So it depends on what.
Oh,
it's
so
in.
you do taste feet.
yeah, I have.
Okay.
You got to
must
do
have a thing.
everything once, right?
Yeah.
Put a toe in your mouth. You're like, this ain't for me. I'm out.
Yeah, I mean that's how you learn.
Lick from your
That-
head to your toes.
Coincidentally, that's how his hymen bussy got.
Yeah, it was
popped,
a
so.
toe, and it was a toe gone awry.
Yeah.
That big toe was big. That was their biggest toe.
That's what she said.
It was one of those people that didn't have the one that was a little like the one toe that's a little bigger than the big toe, a little longer.
Yeah, like with me, like with feet, I don't love feet. I don't hate feet. I'm kind of indifferent.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
care either.
It's just
Never
a body
been a thing.
part. Like
Yeah,
It's not my thing.
not your thing. Are you like anti feet then, or are you like?
I don't like touching feet.
You're like keep
Like,
the feet away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm weird.
It's like keep
weird.
your feet away from me.
I had an ex that did a thing with her feet. I hope you're watching too.
Oh yeah, he's like, hey, just in case.
Reminiscing.
She did this thing with your feet. What kind of thing did she do with her feet? Now I'm curious.
Find out more
That's
on the Patreon.
you see that bitch? You don't get that for free.
You don't get that for free.
That's another story for another time.
Yeah.
Screenshotting fucking feet pics on OnlyFans. Hey girl, I think that's
Oh man,
so
you did
weird.
Doja Cat?
Oh, those feet are weird, aren't they? Don't she have some weird feet?
Didn't she just get her
No,
feet?
yeah,
Was
yeah.
she the one that just got her feet done?
She definitely needed to based off the pics I saw.
Like she had like a feet surgery.
I don't know.
Like,
She was the one sending feats to white nationalist groups.
And it was they were
Oh,
gross.
shit,
Like
yeah.
like their toes looked like they were doing the gang signs.
I just wonder if those were her real feet or she just found them.
Probably should've found her. Or I don't know.
Yeah,
Who
they looked
knows?
horrible.
Maybe. I don't know.
'Cause you got to think about it. You probably do get fucked up feet off wearing like undersized shoes and like
What, have
wearing
you seen
random
LeBron's?
heels.
Have you seen LeBron's feet?
I don't want to see LeBron.
I mean, somebody posted a picture of LeBron's feet, and like his Not his pinky, but the one on top. It's basically like up like this because of wearing basketball shoes and playing basketball so much. It's like higher than the rest of his toes or some shit.
Yeah, and see, like
Just
that's
the
the same
form.
thing I was getting at, like from girls like wearing heels and
Yeah.
like certain type of shoes. And
Well, in China they did that binding shit. You ever seen that? The binding. Then the Chinese, it was like part of their culture where they would like take their feet and bind them so they would be smaller. Like if you had big women feet, they'd want it. It was like the sexy was like smaller feet, so they would like bind their feet, but then they looked all like disformed.
They were basically
like,
breaking the bones in there and reforming them.
yeah, like creating a new feet. Yeah,
It's weird.
they looked kind of like like the samurai feet with the two big toes.
Yeah.
He's like, get me out of this. He's like, get me out of this. Yeah. I saw this too. I was like, this is an AI thing. So if we were talking about ChatGPT earlier, I'm like, did you see the difference between a Democrat protester and a Republican protester? I feel like that's kind of crazy. The internet definitely has its opinions.
Yeah.
the AI programmer has their opinion.
Well, doesn't the programmer based off of like an algo or like an
algorithm.
algorithm? But like it's like they take like all of the internet and they put it together, and it's like the average person is what they think of. And
I think that just means that this may be the loudest majority.
and on both sides.
Yeah,
on both
or
sides.
that's what the media portrays.
Yeah.
And the AI sees what the media portrays.
Well,
Yeah.
it's very telling though because
Because
you have
that is the
you
media
With
portrayal.
blue hair and glasses.
Yeah, and obviously crying, so softy, I guess.
Yeah.
And then some dude that kind of looks like a young Kevin Bacon, fighting for America, and that's supposed to be what the Republican stance is,
And
which
he's
is
like
weird.
throwing up black powers.
Throwing up the fist.
All lives matter.
Workers unite. I thought this was interesting too. Did you guys see this? Australian state passes law banning growing your own food.
I mean, that's kind of like a thing already, like in America.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be a thing.
Like
Yeah.
you have to get like permits to like grow a certain amount. Like
Well, yeah, I can see that.
Well, yeah, if you're considered like farming or using it for
Repurposing
distribution,
land.
yeah.
You know, like if you're basically taking like private land and basically turning it into commercial.
Yeah.
I guess that would make sense, but I don't.
I don't know the extent of it,
Yeah.
but I just know I don't think I'm allowed to like take my own backyard, and like even if I wasn't selling it, like I don't think I'm allowed to like take all like the grass out and put dirt and like grow like.
I think you're allowed to.
Yeah,
My grandma has a garden.
see why you
just a
couldn't.
garden, right?
Yeah, if it's all your
I think there's like an extent of how big your garden can
okay.
be. Like that's what I'm
That's
saying.
like there's a
yeah, I'm sure there's some
stipulation.
kind of like funny
Yeah.
rule, but it has to. I would
But I'm-
assume
I'm
it
not
has to be
sure,
over
like-
a certain number of acres.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. I know that one of the weirdest thing that people get frustrated by is the fact that you're not technically in a lot of places allowed to like store rainwater.
That's what I was
Yeah.
getting ready to get at. I was like,
weird,
because I
right?
didn't understand that either. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. One, I don't know why you're storing rainwater, but I also don't know why you can't. So
Yeah, you can take it out of the ground if it's already in the ground. Like you can build a well,
Yeah.
but you're not allowed to
Okay.
take it from the air. And I think most of it has to do with like the way the water filters. Like you might be taking water out of a certain environment and robbing it. But I'm like at the same time, it doesn't make sense.
if it collects in a bucket,
They don't want you to know what they're putting in the actual rain. They don't want you to know. That's what
that
it
makes
is.
sense.
They don't want you to know.
Probably those tears from the last.
Probably that guy
AI.
right there.
Like, look at his seal. It is like sinister as hell, doesn't it?
It looks like he's just looking at us right now.
It's like, hey, you think you can grow your own food, bitch? I don't think so. Not here. Not.
You're
Australia seems like you couldn't grow
You're
much
gonna
anyway.
eat seedless grapes.
Eat seedless grapes now.
I don't know, but it looks like that dude has busted a few hymen bussies. So
He
And then that's another thing, like seedless like fruit. Like, how does that work?
Yeah.
yeah,
How do you grow seedless stuff?
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I guess it's bioengineering basically. Like it's the same way we have chihuahuas, but
Yeah, it's
one
the
comes
reason.
without a seed, and then we just keep propagating that one without a seed until we get seedless.
But how?
But how?
It's the same reason
Where do the
that we
seeds
have
come
more
from?
estrogen.
You know, like, how do you
less
grow
testosterone.
it?
Where do the seeds from seedless grapes come from? And we're all just sitting here like high thoughts, like what? Is that even a question? Well, speaking of Hyde, did you guys hear about this? Aww. Jury finds actor Danny Masterson guilty of 2 out of 3 counts of grape, seedless grape.
Oh, seedless grape. Ew.
He out there graping.
I was wondering why he wasn't in the new that 90
70s
show.
yeah.
That 90 show.
Well, yeah, definitely because of that. Because he's out there.
Oh,
raping
that's
people.
Hyde.
Because he's doing.
Yeah, that's Hyde.
He's doing 90. That's why I said Hyde. That's was like speaking of Hyde, out of nowhere.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they should just like write him. Like they need to put him in the show, but like write him off of it in some way. Because like right now, it's just like they haven't made no mention. Like it's like
Honestly, he actually looks younger now.
Yeah, it's with
Kinda
it. It's
does.
because
Well, I
you can't
guess
see the
it's the
bottom of his face.
mask,
Yeah, it's like he's got that underwear on his face, which it does look like. That did look very much like underwear. It looked
Yeah, it
like
really
the
does.
crotch area.
Yeah,
It's got a
yeah,
crotch area and everything.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's too much, man. I think that's all for my topics today, but I want to throw some of them out there and just kind of get your guys' opinion on it. I know we can go a little bit into this if you want, but the FDA has finally approved Elon Musk's brain chip company Neuralink to launch its first human clinical study. So you guys signing up or not?
I'll wait this out.
Gonna wait till Gen 2? Gen 3?
Maybe a 4 or 5 type.
If I had a terminal illness,
Yeah,
I would
maybe.
go for it.
All I'm saying, I didn't get an Apple or an iPhone until like 13. I'll wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just now got one recently?
Something like. Well, remember,
we on
I
14
just
now?
got it a few
Oh,
years
yeah,
ago.
yeah,
So like, I think I got a 12. That's
But
what it
like
was.
that makes me think of like I literally just seen this. It's season 2 of the Twilight Zone,
Oh yeah.
and like basically like they had like it wasn't a chip, but like basically it was like VR technology, and like you link in when you go to sleep, and like you get into like once you get into REM sleep, like you log in to this like virtual world, and like the only rule is like you stay in character.
Is this that episode of Black Mirror?
No, that's what everyone said on TikTok. That's what everyone said on TikTok. Like this is Black Mirror,
That's the episode of Black Mirror.
but
when
I
them dudes
hadn't
are
watched
fucking
Black
each other.
Mirror. Like I'm familiar with, but I hadn't watched it. I seen it on TikTok
a video
from the
game thing.
Twilight Zone.
Oh shit.
And yeah, so yeah, it was probably literally the same premise.
Brother, just kiss me.
But then like
Mackie.
the dude had like he was like into the game and stuff like that, and then basically what he did was he took like a sleep cocktail, like a bunch of meds and stuff like that to like kill himself or send himself into a coma.
But never leave the game.
Yeah.
I got you.
Man, that's fucking. What do they call that?
But the AI person didn't realize that they're in a video game. Like
Right.
they're like, no, this is me.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's
Shit.
a conscious.
this
yeah.
is my whole life. And then they explained to them like you're in a simulation. Like
Oh shit, that's like a Severance. Have you seen the movie Severance? You would love Severance. Check that out.
I'm
It's
going
another
to.
Apple bootleg, but it's Severance. It's got the dude from Parks and Recreation, Adam Scott. I think it's
Okay.
Adam Scott. You know what I'm talking about? He was in Parks and Recreation. He was in Step Brothers. He was the asshole brother of the Step Brother.
Oh, okay.
Dale's brother. What's his name? Dan. The
Catalina
She Got a
wine
Smile. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, he plays the main character in that, and it's actually got a really crazy cast. It's got Christopher Walken. It's got the guy who just played Falcone in the new Batman. I can't remember his name. He was I Love Your Feet. That guy from not Big Daddy, one of the fucking Adam Sandler movies. You know, Anyway, it's got a crazy cast, and it's basically about it's like a company creates a way that you could sever half of your brain so that when you go to work, you're not conscious. So you never go to work in your real life, but then you have a whole nother person at work every day, and that's a whole different personality, or maybe not. You don't know, but you don't even you don't know they don't know you exist, and you don't know they exist, and it's basically how they end up figuring out like what's going on and how they can. It's an insane show. It's one of the. It's got Patricia Arquette in it as well.
Yeah.
But it's one of the most insane shows I've ever seen,
gonna watch
sci-fi
that.
wise. But like you basically go in an elevator, and when you get there, and when they come out of the elevator, they're another person, and they don't even like you. It's why it's called Severance. They sever their part of their brain.
Ties. Okay.
It's and what like
I've seen this
You
one.
get in
I
there, and it's
haven't
like a
seen it,
corporate
but-
cult. It's like a
Okay.
corporate cult because that's all you don't know anything outside of this job when you're there.
yeah.
This person doesn't, and it's like watching the different personalities of one person to the other. And like the main character, like his significant other passed away, so like he's trying to escape that for half of his life because he can't go to work, and because that's all he can think about.
Right.
So like he goes to work and he's a whole different person. It's wild because like the way they in the season you're like,
Yeah, that's dope. I'm gonna check it out. But like, I just like literally before I came here, like I watched this video on YouTube, and like basically like there's AI people, but like they're starting, like, over time, they're developing their own personalities.
Yeah.
And, like, their own thoughts and things like that. That it isn't like
They
a
twerking?
person's, like, it isn't like a person's generating, like, well, I want you to do this, or, like, giving them commands. Like,
Oh, shit.
they're, like, having their own thoughts. And there were two AIs having conversation with each other. And, like, basically they were explaining themselves, like, yes, we are not humans, but we are who we are.
Yeah.
And, like, we have our own personalities, even though, like, I was designed the same as you. Like, over time, like, we all are, like, growing apart. Like, we're developing into our individuality.
Because your experiences develop, part of that's the nature versus nurture thing. Like the nurture, like, I know it's not nurture necessarily, but it's like the concept of, like, if there's two yous and one of you goes to college and one of you doesn't, or one of you grows up with money, one of you grows up poor, they're different versions of the same personality, but it's like you develop your brain differently. There's this really, I was looking to get into this, but I'll pull it up. And I know, controversy aside, let's put that aside, but just listen to the video. A lot of people don't like Jordan Peterson for whatever reason. They don't like him. But as a psychologist, he was a Harvard professor, blah, 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 blah. This is a crazy video I was watching.
It took me like 30 years to figure out, and I figured it out on this tour. There's a lot of potential you locked in your genetic code. And then if you put yourself in a new situation, then the stress, that's the situational stress that's produced by that particular situation, unlocks those genes and then builds new parts of you. And so that's very cool, because who knows how much there is locked inside of you.
So, like, I thought that was a crazy concept, the whole concept of, like, genetically we all have different traits that you can bring out of you in your brain, different genes that can be activated, you know, turned on, turned off different ways. We all know that, but there might be an entire different personality that you never developed because you never unlock those capabilities.
Never unlock that from your DNA.
So I saw that video. I was like on like a reel on Instagram, and I was like, this is actually insightful. I was like, it's a kind of a cool concept.
And like the thing is, like, that concept, like, you're telling me this coming from a Harvard professor?
Yeah.
Like, I literally got that same concept, like, years ago, like, listening to Brother Polite and Young Pharaoh. Yeah. Like, and, like, these are, like, supposed to be, like, what's the word to describe them? Like, people that don't know what they're talking about. And that's literally the same concept I got from them, like, some years ago. So it's like,
it's just a crazy. I mean, a lot of people, like, in different spaces obviously operate in different ways. So this guy, you know, he's a psychology professor, you know, psychiatrist that meets with a lot of different people, and he was like, you know, he said there's a theory he developed over time, and I'm sure he probably gets more into depth with it. But the concept that, like, you are so much more than what you know you are because you haven't developed those parts of your brain or parts of yourself. Right. Like let's say you're young and you're like, I don't like fish. Like you decide that at like 8, I don't like fish. Right. And then you're 25 and you're at a party and you eat something, you're like, oh, this is delicious. And they're like, oh yeah, that's a tuna tartare. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
Like a whole different, and then you've like unlocked a whole new, and that's not even a genetic necessarily. That's just something that you've decided at one point in time that you didn't need to make that distinction at that. You know, I don't like it right now. Or that's not me right now.
And like I said, that's just wild. Like, that's coming from a Harvard professor, and like that's another thing I heard, like, from Dr. Malachi York, and like dealing with the Nawapians and stuff like that. That was a concept that they were teaching. Like, they were teaching that in the 80s.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's great. I think the fact that the internet, the greatest thing about the internet is also the worst thing about the internet is there's so much of it. There's so much you can get. You can decide your life on the internet. You can decide if you want to be a guy who wants to learn something, or you can decide you want to be distracted, or you can decide that day. And some people, they get stuck in, well, I don't like this. I don't like this. Like I've said personally, like myself as a flaw, like I don't really listen to, I don't really watch, I don't read nonfiction. I just watch it. Right. But I mean, there might be a nonfiction book that I read and I'm like, oh, this is great. Yeah. I normally like to read things that are like facts or somebody's opinion. You know what I mean? Or something like that. I don't really like to read like, John woke up and he just, you know, somebody wrote a story about John shitting himself or whatever. You know, I don't really give a fuck.
But like another thing is like things, like especially like with the internet now, a lot of stuff can be perceived as fact. Yeah. Like just based on the vocabulary that you use, the confidence that you have when you're saying certain things. Yeah. It's just like, especially if you reference some other bullshit. Like, so then when you tell them to go do their own research, they research the bullshit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so now there's like 3 references of bullshit, and you're like, well, he said that, he said that, he said that. It must be right.
Yeah.
Like,
There's the Bill Burr bit where he says you have an opinion and then you go to imright.com.
Right.
And then you find out you're right. And it's like you can find anything. You can find any opinion. It's a lot of the flat earth stuff. A lot of like whether you believe flat earth or you believe round earth or you believe in pill-shaped earth or if you believe in, no, I'm just saying regardless of what you believe, at the end of the day, you're going to find a source that you believe to be true.
Yeah,
and a lot
there's
of
going to be people that agree with you, and there's going to be facts.
There's going to be facts on
support
both
the
sides.
argument.
Yeah, a lot of people, there's this concept nowadays where we're all like, well, you're living your truth. Your truth. And then there's a lot of people that are like, no, there's the truth. And then there's, a version of events that you choose to believe. Yeah. And it's like, at what point is it? Because a lot of it does come down to like identity, a lot of our identities. And I'm not just talking like, gender identity. I'm talking about our identities in general.
Correct.
Like we decide what they are. And then we're like, this is a fact of me. And you could be completely wrong. Like you don't even know what you are. You could think you're this and not even know you're that. And and then if we are in the simulation, you might be getting pushed into believing you're this when you're that.
Exactly. Because like literally I could give a 30-minute presentation about how the earth is shaped like ice cream cone.
Yeah.
Like and have facts and like that supported to really like maybe he's right. Because like if you don't do any research on a particular subject and someone else did, it doesn't matter whether they're right or wrong. You can't argue with them because you don't have any facts to support what you think.
You ever heard of the idea of a steel man? You ever heard of that concept of a steel man?
No.
You've heard straw man, right?
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, you're creating a straw man."
Yeah.
Well, and let me preface that. A straw man is when you attribute you take the worst argument and you attribute it to the person you're arguing against, so that to like downplay their opinion, right. even if they never, like, let's say you don't believe it, but I'm saying, oh, if you believe that, you must believe this to make you look dumb, and it's not true. You're straw manning their opinion. Steel manning is where you take their strongest opinion, the strongest argument they have against what you believe, and then you attack that. So that's the steel manning. You want to find the strongest evidence that they have for their opinion, and you want to argue against that because that's how you disprove them. So I think that's something that in society we've got to get better at doing is we got to steel man the other people's arguments. We got to take their best argument and say, this is what I want to combat against. And if you can't find an argument against it, maybe you should fuck up. Really. Like if you can't fight the hardest argument, you can only fight all these little small ones. Yeah. Then maybe you shouldn't be talking about it.
But I can't think of what movie that is, but that just made me think. He said something. He was like, that's your only argument. It's the only argument I need, Sean. Like,
it's the only argument I need.
All that sounds great, but the best, most surefire way to win an argument, and I'll just let you all in on this, is find a celebrity, make them believe it, and then you win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or just say, your mom.
That one.
That one's like, your mama. Yo mama. That's it. End of discussion.
Because the celebrity thing doesn't always work. Sometimes they'll just call celebrity.
It was total bullshit. I know that, right? Like,
that was completely satirical. You can tell.
Yeah. I was just like, it was just my platform to be like, Kyrie's right?
Yeah, Kyrie's right.
Like, man, no, but honestly, look, I actually, nope, look, don't gonna catch me on camera. Kyrie says his own opinions. I have my own opinion.
Yeah,
I probably said some shit. Use
it's all these stupid corporations, man.
Yeah.
Kyrie shared a documentary
on
a corporate website on Prime, and then everybody's mad at him. Like, maybe you should be mad at Prime for putting it on there. If you're really get mad, nobody wants to be mad at corporations anymore, which is so weird to me because like they're not people. Corporations are entities, and
have no feelings.
But everybody
just have lots of money.
Like here's I do have this, and then we'll wrap it up, and this will be interesting. So these are side by side posters between China and America. Okay. So, Disney in particular, these are all Disney based, but Disney in particular, champions diversity, and they're, but then if you look at the top one, it's the Force Awakens or whatever.
Right.
And you see they've removed John Boyega, a black man, from the Chinese poster because movies with black characters don't do as well there. Black Panther is about an entire black civilization, but they covered his face and changed the entire way he looks in order to, sell the movie in China. And then they were calling the same thing with the Little Mermaid. So on the right is the American one. You can see her skin color right there.
Yeah.
And on the left, they've changed her skin color in order to reverse, the entire concept.
Exactly. And it's all about marketing because I actually have a like they have a lot of black characters that they're pushing right now, and like a lot of people see it as like an empowering thing, but like I also see the other side of it. It just happens to be black Americans are the biggest consumers in America. So it's like they're contouring to the biggest consumers. Yeah. It's not necessarily that they want to empower. It's just, we know you're going to buy this shit. Like,
yeah.
I do miss like, as much as I like inclusion and diversity, obviously it's not a bad thing or anything, but I do miss the days where like you could see like black media had its own thing. And I'm sure it's still out there. I mean, there's way more than Tyler Perry. Like Soul Food was one of my favorite movies of all time, and that's like an entire black cast. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like we do not need to include everybody in that. We do need to include everybody, but we're allowed to do our separate things as well, and it can be great. I love hearing stories about black families. Like that was one of my favorite. My mom used to always come in my room and I'd be watching that. And I mean, Boyz II Men on the soundtrack, Blackstreet on the soundtrack. I mean, fucking Babyface in the freaking movie. You know what I mean? You've got Teddy from Blackstreet's in the movie. Yeah. I'm like, I think you can do both. You don't have to do one or the other. Yeah, they don't have to be.
But sometimes it is like a very interesting thing. Like, you remember the movie Strange Things about the Johnsons?
Oh,
like that was
Don't you dare bring this up again on this podcast.
Oh my God, why are we always talking about this on this podcast?
I didn't know, but no, look, I won't go into it too much. Like you can watch it, or not.
Y'all already know.
But it was a thing because it was actually written about a white family originally, but the fact that it had a black cast made it like.
So like I contribute this to like you have the gentrification of like neighborhoods and shit like that, right? Like there's gentrification in culture and in society.
Oh yeah.
And for the longest time, like movies like Soul Food or like take anything that John Singleton put out, you know, back in the day, it's all been reappropriated nowadays. Yeah. And now it's more corporate entities are behind it, i.e. more white people are behind it. Yeah. And I don't care how that sounds, but that's how it is.
More white women.
Yeah.
It's always white women.
No, it's the men too.
It's the men. I don't.
No. It's the men too because they know. Like I said, black consumers are the biggest consumers of America. Yeah, they spend the most money. Like,
but to be fair, 13%. I think you're right in a way when you say because 13% of the population of America is black.
Yeah, and then
so if you're going after 13% of the market, you're losing. 87.
And then I also think I actually don't. But even
black
believe
people
that
are what make
anymore.
things cool.
Yeah,
that's the truth. The truth. I think when
part.
you say black consumers are the biggest consumers, I think if black people like it, it's like better than Rotten Tomatoes. Fuck Rotten Tomatoes.
It is that. And that's why I say it's the gentrification of the whole
and that's
culture.
I think you're right.
And it's that like okay, black people or hip hop culture can do something and then it gets taken and then bastardized in a certain way. Yeah. And there can be good and bad from that, but like you just have it.
We got to wrap up. We're getting closer and closer to an hour and a half, 2 hours here. I want to wrap up here, but I did want to throw this out there real quick before we wrap up. There's a comedian, since this is what's kind of wrap things up what we're talking about here. There's a comedian that has a bit that talks I don't remember which comedian it was, but there's talking about different cultures do different things like. And the joke was white people make things safe, black people make things cool. And Asian people make things affordable.
No, that's a fact, though.
It is a fact. Anyway, I'm Jordan Granger. This is Kokomo Press Podcast. I'm Jordan Granger.
I'm Jordan Bell.
Our special guest today,
Profecy, Pesos 54.
I'm gonna call you Rhett.
Check him out everywhere.
You can call me Rhett.
Check him out everywhere. Check us out. I had a great time hanging out with you guys today. This is Kokomo Press Podcast. We love you.
Yo.
Peace.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Kokomo Press Podcast. We really appreciate you. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You can check us out on the Kokomo Press at Facebook, at YouTube, at Instagram, or you can follow us all at our individual accounts if you want on Twitter or Facebook or wherever. You can get our merch, or if you really, really, really want to help us out, it's only $5. You can actually subscribe to our Patreon. Check that out because we have a lot of content we want to give you guys, and we want to put more and more out, and it's starting to get expensive. So hit us up. Thank you for watching this episode of the Kokomo Press Podcast. Thank you so much. We love you. 2 kisses.